Okay. Okay. Okay, okay. Alright. There we go. Hello there, hello. Sorry we are extremely late. OBS has been an absolute nightmare today, so obviously there's a huge delay on the stream, so it's going to be an interesting one, trying to do it all this over again. Plus I've got that looping through the headphones, which is no good, so I'll turn the volume down on that and hopefully that won't have any interference in the future, but I'll leave it at 10 just so I can check it just in case. Right. Oh. Now I also got to find out how to see chat at the same time because everything is so muddled up. We've got many screens and I'm working it all out. Although I can't tell who is in the chat. Oh wow, chat is all the way down there. Okay. Hello. You were quick, fair play. Although there we go, okay, whew. I got myself sorted out. Okay, sorry, I'm just trying to sort out all the stuff. For some reason, YouTube decides to put the chat all the way at the bottom of the screen, so I have no idea who's talking, who's in, and all that sort of stuff. And there's all sorts of nonsense on this page, but we will persist, as always. How are you today? How was work? Is that gonna come back up to the top? There you go. Okay. Oh, geez, we have 2 people now. Oh, the pressure's on. Okay, we've got many screens, many things set up. I'll go over that all in a quick second. Just got to make sure that I can actually see both what's being outputted from OBS and what is going through the stream and what people are saying at the same time. This is going to be interesting. Okay, that's a weird... Don't know if that's a glitch or anything, but it's something. Anyway, sorry, I'm talking absolute nonsense. That means nothing to anybody. Okay, so... Geez, actually, I want to show you this. This is interesting. For some reason, I'll show you this very quickly now. Let's transition to... I've got an on-the-go webcam set up. That's going to take a second to come through. But for some reason... This is very strange. Multitasking monster. Okay, so it's come through now. It takes a second for me to be able to work things out, but I will get into the fluidity of things. So this is my screen that I can see. It's all on my laptop. For some reason, I'm going to try to get a good view of this. For some reason, when I'm on the right screen and I put everything to the right, and then I go over to here, to the other screen, it decides to scroll the right window to the left. And see if we can pin it down somehow. And I'm not on this anymore, not on the movement thing anymore. It just decides to scroll left. Well, that's no good. Might have to reevaluate this. Okay, plan. No, I can't do that. Can I? Yes, I can. Oh, jeez. Oh, no. Oh, I don't know what's going on with that. I think I should leave it as it is. And now that's probably completely out of the correct position I had it in before. But no matter. Actually, that's not too bad. Right. We'll transition back to integrated cam. I'm not the absolute most prepared person today. I'll be 100% honest about that. Although when are people for live streams? Anyway, so the question is that going to play ball now? Oh, apparently it's playing ball now. Okay, the question is, do we hang around for a second, wait for a couple more people to turn up, and then we'll start doing stuff, or shall we get on with things, crack straight on, and see where we get to? To be honest, we've got a fair bit of prep to do before we go over anything. We've got stuff to go over, parts and things like that, before we crack into anything. But oh, I accidentally forgot to turn my radiator off before I started up these soft boxes here, so I'm going to be sweating at the end of this live stream. Oh, brilliant. And for some reason my live stream paused during all of that, so I could not see the update. Oh no, now it's going, oh no. So for some reason when the live stream is paused, that doesn't happen, the slide thing, but when the live stream is not paused, it's okay. That's horrendous. Well, I'm just going to have to stay on that chat page until I have to, I don't know. At some point I'll be able to set up some quick time switches between things. Hello there. Now it's saying, oh god, what was that? Okay, now it's saying that there's one person watching and there are 2 people in the chat. So I'm a whole world of confused right now. Oh, jeez. Right, okay, well we have 2 people in. I think that's enough to go on with discussing parts and things, because, I mean, this is supposed to be a productive time. We're supposed to steam through things as quickly as we possibly can, although I will end up chatting and stuff like that. Okay, so going over what we're doing today, we already discussed this earlier on, but very quickly, we're not going to be doing the fitting of the R939TX water block and stuff like that, because in all honesty, that's going to take too long. I'm actually going to... I do need to do the GTX 1070 change, so those are the blocks and and that's the backplate for it. See, I got the works ready for this card to enter our water cooling testing and stuff like that, but I didn't actually go through it because I got the GTX 1070 in time. But I actually have no room on my desk right now to be able to do stuff. I could do with having some sort of wheelie thing going on. I don't want that to sleep either, because otherwise I'm buggered. Right, we have 4 people in chat, or 4 people watching the stream. This is going to be all sorts of crazy, trying to get all this sorted. Okay, so gist is, not doing the block for the R939X. I'm going to put that on the seat over here. There you go. Just to go over, actually, considering there's, I feel, enough can have a free GPU. No, you can't have a free GPU. I need this GPU for testing. I'm going to go through the webcams we have set up. So the current view you're looking at is the webcam as at the top of the screen of my laptop, and if you weren't here a second ago, I'll show that in a second. We have a USB webcam set up, which is my C290. So that's there, so we can actually do stuff and show stuff properly, and just have a general overview for when I haven't set up the other camera properly and we're just doing stuff and we're not talking to the webcam. But one thing I found actually quite useful is this was an offcut of some sound insulation foam, whatever you call them. It's a soundproof foam, I suppose. It actually does a really good job of holding things like a screwdriver, so if you have any of that hanging around, it doesn't do a very good job of bits like that, but this does mean that I can throw stuff down without it hitting the table and affecting the microphone, so not a bad attempt. I did have that actually underneath the microphone before, which kind of counteracted that anyway. So anyway, that's that. Then we have the other webcam, which I'm calling USB webcam on the go, which is here. One thing I need to do is check the chat just to see, is there any delay? Is there any delay in any of these cameras? Because I had to, last time I didn't have to go through any of this. There might have been a massive delay, but I don't think there was. But this time I had to go through all sorts of nonsense to be able to get this to work. These 2 cameras, so the camera you're looking through now and the other USB camera, had to have a 500 millisecond delay on their on an async delay, so that's the video, and the audio generally coming from the microphone needed a 750 millisecond delay in order to counteract the USB webcam, well, not USB webcam, the integrated webcam coming through here. So we've got all sorts of delays going all over the shop, and I hope it doesn't, oh, no delay. Fantastic. Thank you very much. M Awesomeness says you're awesome. Thank you very much. No delay. Fantastic. Hello, Salmonella Gorilla. You've been pretty popular in the comments lately on the 2 videos today. Really appreciate that. It's good to get feedback and back and forth going when I'm sort of doing this sort of on the fly thing. So really appreciate that. Okay, so I mean, we've got 5 people. I mean, that's pretty much half the record of last time. So I think that's enough to go on doing some sorts of stuff. So first things first is removing the block on the GTX 1070. I haven't actually prepared everything because things. We need, hopefully everything is still in here. This is when you realise I'm wearing chaps. No. So we're going to have to take the air cooler out of there, of course. We have all of these on board ready, so I think this deserves a USB webcam change. So we have, obviously, the block to come off. It's very apparent that the 2 USB webcams I have, the C920s or 290s, what are they called? I don't know. The C290s, I think, they're much better webcams than, or much better cameras than the webcam integrated into the top of the screen, the laptop, clearly. So we've got all of these coolers to test, and I don't think we're going to get through all of them today. I'm going to be honest. So I'm going to presume that we're going to do perhaps changing the block on the GTX 1070 and then doing a couple of CPU coolers, perhaps. But it might get to a point where we do CPU cooler stuff and we actually get... We'll keep it up. I'm getting comments through as well as comments in the chat. Oh my god. Okay, USB. It's also new to me. I need quick-fire button setup for stuff as well. I do need to do that at some point. Seen streamers do that because that's so much better than having to select the scene on OBS and then click OK or transition as it is on there now. But it's okay. I think we can work with it. So, like I said, we will be doing hopefully a couple of CPU cooler testing stuff, and there's a possibility that we might do that, but it might get to a point where when I have to do that, I'll have to obviously shut down the main computer, but we're working off the laptop, so that's not a problem. But we will have to have the fans on the GPU, well, because we're doing CPU cooler reviews, I suppose we don't have to bother with that, but we'll have the fans on the CPU cooler at full speed, so it might get really annoying for you guys, so I may as well, call it quits there potentially if it's really bad. So we might try the first one. Unfortunately, I can't see chat right now because YouTube, I might have to show you guys in a second. YouTube, I showed the sickness, he was the first in. I didn't get any notification for this, even though I haven't turned on. Yeah, YouTube has been an absolute nightmare lately. I didn't really understand the issues before. The first live stream we did, some people didn't get notified either. My girlfriend told me she didn't get notified, even though she subscribed, of course. But yeah, oh my god, I think noises are happening. That's the cable for the headphones that I used earlier, so nothing's broken. Yeah, YouTube is an absolute nightmare. But so, hello, Toto Geenan, nice to see you. Hello. Didn't get any notification. Absolutely ridiculous. See, I am very late, of course. I tried to set up some sort of, we're going to be starting at this time, but that didn't really go according to plan because OBS was being an absolute pain. I had to set up delays on all of these cameras and the audio in order to get things to work, so absolute nightmare. Anyway, so apologies as usual. I think it goes for every streamer. Apologies for me being delayed in chatting and that sort of stuff in the chat, because the chat has some sort of delay. I don't know what delay it is. It's something. So yeah, so I will be doing my best to pop my head up and say hello to the chat, but of course want to keep the pace. And speaking of pace, we're 14 minutes in and we should probably get cracking with some building. So of course there's no fans involved in doing the actual main part of this, which is going to be the blocks changing over. Considering we started so late, again, we probably won't be doing a lot of testing on CPUs, although if we move super quick, who knows? So, I mean, I suppose let's get started. One thing that I want to sort of put out there already is I'm not entirely sure as to the quality or the existence of any thermal pads inside this box. Try not to talk while I slide this out. There you go. So I'm not exactly entirely sure if there are any thermal pads that I kept tucked inside the cooler of this. So yes, so I'm not 100% on that. And it doesn't help that I can't see everything. Okay, I think we've got a good setup here. I think it's all okay. You're watching from Africa. No way. No way. My girlfriend absolutely loves Africa, and she's been there. She went on there on a natural history sort of conservation trip, and she absolutely wants to go there. So I will no doubt be there at some point in the future. But that's probably no consolation to anybody watching, including somebody from Africa. So yes, or who is in Africa, not necessarily from there. Who knows? So anyway, we've got, of course, all the cables. We don't need any of those. Actually, do things properly. Let's get that off the table. We don't need to have any of that going on while we're trying to sort all this stuff out. SLI. Not gonna happen. So yes, SLI. Actually, funnily enough, we have two GTX 1070s in work now. And I tried to get those in. Stickers and stuff. We don't need any of this crap. I tried to get some of those in because we do rendering in work. I work in architectural practice. And I've been trying to push getting rendering and cool stuff like that more into a more common state in our practice, but it's getting there slowly. But we have got two GTX 1070s, not for one system, all for two separate systems. But yeah, one of them is actually my computer in work, which is something that I really appreciate. So, live in Namibia. Wow. Well, I honestly would not have thought that. I'm actually surprised at the turnout of people now, considering that, I mean, generally America is where most of the views come from on this channel, which is pretty crazy. But most of the interaction I find is from, I mean, well, not America, from most people elsewhere. I mean, we have. So just checking the chat. But no, yeah, we have the Sickness 1234. He's from Germany. Wilson's from America. Toto Geenan. We have Sam the Gorilla is from the UK. You were saying that earlier. Toto Geenan, UK, I believe. From trying to remember from earlier on. But yeah, I don't think America. But then again, I mean, we're not synced up, especially for a live stream now. I suppose is it bank holiday over there? Oh Jesus Christ. I'm gonna yes. From the Netherlands. Sorry, from the Netherlands. I'll never remember everybody's stuff. I can barely remember, well, where I live. But there we go. Okay, so let's get started. I think let's actually get some work going on. I'm spending too much time looking at the chat, so I think we'll just crack on with taking off the. Actually, I've got to stop doing that. I remember last time that I did my best to not do that. I don't think taking off the back plate is the most important starting approach. Actually, I think it is, to be honest. Fair enough. Mind you, it's one of those things trying to remember where somebody's from, especially when the only conversations you've had, well, are basically mute on the internet, is, of course, not going to yield a massive amount of sort of a memory in terms of locations and things like that. So Lindsay Foster is saying hi, and I'm gonna leave it at that. Alright, isn't there some sort of, there we go. I've put this block off and on a few times, and there's always this screw right at the back here. I'm gonna see if I can actually get some better shots at this, because I have actually got the third webcam set up for things like this, and I might try and put that into action now without, I don't know, causing all sorts of mayhem. I've got to be somewhat smart about this, and that's going to be tricky. Okay, let's see. Brain's working overload now. Okay, that might work. So if I put that transition across to here, okay, that might work. It's a possibility. I can't see the chat anymore because I went to OBS to change things. We're beta testers, you're fine. Hey, Joe. There you go. There's Joe. Joe has lent his webcam to me. Actually, the one that you're looking through right now. Okay, so there we go. That was the screw that I generally miss when I'm trying to take this off. I've only taken it off a couple of times. I haven't taken it off like a million times, like obviously quite a lot of people will do. So there we go. Film pads, that sort of thing. Okay, so I'm going to leave those on there for now because I don't actually know what I'm doing with those for a second. I may want to potentially try and reuse those for putting on the air-cooled block. I mean, they're still, you know, very usable, very pliable. So I don't want to throw them away if I don't have to. Could do with bringing down that webcam a little bit. I'm going to slide it down the pole, because I don't think we need such a huge scope. Okay. Thanks for the camera. Do you only have one monitor? Right now, I'm using my laptop, so that's only one monitor. I've got two monitors for my main setup, and those are. See, times like this, I really wish I had some quick transition things set up. So I do have two main monitors for the main rig. One's to my left now, and the other one's broken. So yeah, that was a bit of annoying. I say it's broken. It's in a somewhat so-so state. So yeah, I don't really know what to do with it. It turns off and then it comes back on and all sorts. So I'm a little bit unsure. I don't even know what my plan is for getting new monitors, because I don't want to spend a lot of money. Funny enough, lots of people don't actually. Remembering all of this, that's one of the screws that doesn't need undoing. Has that completely missed the? Oh no, it's actually got a nut on the other side of it. So those two are fine. We're gonna have to go with this one. Okay, 1070 block is coming off because we are retiring the 1070 and I'm throwing it out. It's nowhere near as good as the R9390X, I've found. No, it's not. That's not true. No, the block's coming off because we're putting the air cooler back on. And once we have the air cooler back on, that'll be now our main air cool system GPU. And we will be having the R9390X on water. And I haven't just gone out and bought an R9390X block. So yeah, I haven't got a randomly got one just now. I actually bought that way back when I was initially going to be doing the Enthrovolve M80X build with Joe, which we did actually do with Joe. And yeah, so I swapped it out last minute for the 1070. And yes, notice how I'm not labeling any of these screws coming out, and I am rather amateurishly throwing them to the side. Although I've taken this off a couple of times. It's pretty common sense as to where the screws go, to be honest. If you just look at what location they're going into, are they going into a thicker part of the block below? Are they not? So yeah, so are we at a point where we can remove the main block? Is the question. Actually, the main block is going to be got a little bit more to come off. Do I actually have to remove these as well? I don't know. We will do it. Can't remember. It's been a while. So what was that? That would be cool, actually. A cheap 7-inch LCD monitor. That'd actually be really good because then I could have it down to the right in front of me, just right in front of me while I'm doing here, but to this area here, and I could actually look up and do it instead of. I don't know, I'm gonna have some neck pain at the end of tonight. That's probably guaranteed. Is that gonna come off for me now? I can't remember taking these off. Let's think logically about this. Let's not just start ripping things out. So we've had, right. So we've had these removed there. Yes. We've had that one removed there. We've had those removed. All of those are gone. So do we have an in theory it will come off situation? Or are we still... See, it's been too long. It's been too long since I did this. I have actually taken these off long before, but I can't actually think as to why I would bother removing those, because they're attached to the block itself. That doesn't actually, as far as I'm aware, hold down into the hard at all. Obviously don't want to put too much pressure on it, but it just doesn't feel like it's just going to come straight off. View quality is good on those. Got one going to my PC. Yeah, super amateur hour here. Just pried it until it comes off. Okay, well I'm just going to, for the sake of making sure I don't crush it by peeling it off, I can't be bothered looking at instructions either. Those two front ones have just no bearing at all to the block itself, so I don't know, maybe I'm completely out of base here, out of touch, and maybe I've just, because I've taken this off before to clean the block itself, because you do get gunk forming up in here. Not gunk, but you know, you get all the usual stuff from water cooling appearing there. Let's see if I've got a Allen key to hand. I'll have one down here somewhere. Oh, I can't remember with it. There we go. Right. Okay, there you go. So, maybe I should mix things up. Maybe I should change the webcam. So strange. I'd have thought it wouldn't have an effect. Anyway. Yeah, I know there's a clamp down to the GPU with the back for, definitely. But I was wondering in terms of the stages of putting the block on, but that does make sense. Just wondering, are there any through? No, I'm going to take this back piece off. I can't remember putting it on and it being a particularly important piece. Right. Let's see how it goes. When I go really silent, by the way, I'm just looking at chat. Or maybe I should just tell you guys I'm looking at chat. Just trying to keep up. Trying to be a somewhat good host, but yeah. If I broke the 1070, yeah, I'm kind of hoping. I'd probably cry as well, to be honest. One, because they cost way too much today, and tying to that, they didn't cost the absolute world when I bought this one. I mean, how much does a 1070 go for nowadays? Because I think when I bought this one, it was 400. But I don't know. It's actually cool that you guys are posting stuff about monitors and stuff. 150. 150 is not bad. The other monitors I bought, these ones I bought initially, they were around the 100, 110 mark, and they've been okay. I mean, I've had problems with them, but I mean, when you expect that for a monitor of like 100, 110 mark, to be fair, if you want to get a really nice monitor, then you're gonna have to, you know, fork out. I know Joe's got some really cool. What are they? 4K, 144 hertz monitors, and they're really nice. About 500 for a 1070. Well, there we go. Well, clearly gone up substantially since this one was bought. I mean, this one was a for the win edition as well, so I mean that holds a little bit more punch on top of that. But I mean, obviously not the world more punch. But there we go. Can't see what I'm doing wrong with this, taking this block off though, because I just don't think that this is going to lead to anything. Pretty confident that's the case. I just think it's one of those things where there's some small screw somewhere that's being really annoying. And for some reason, this webcam is extremely blue. Need to sort that out. I've got the one there extremely blue. I've got the one up top being extremely orange. Transition to that. Yeah, I've got this one being extremely orange. I don't know what's going on. No, I need to change the sort out the white balance on them. But I've left it up to Logitech's software to do that, and I don't know, it's clearly not doing a very good job. So, right, so that's that taken off. Why am I finding it so hard to take this off when I literally did it a month ago? Well, that's that taken off. So that abrupt pulling out there was the O-ring seal just sort of unsticking itself, so that's not too bad. Okay, well that's off, but that's not the bit I want to come off. I want the main block to come off, and then that's the splitter, as it were. Splits the thing across the two ways. If I change back, actually, I don't know how many people have had an in-depth look at a water block. I don't know. I suppose Everyone will know by doing this. Oh, you can see the webcam. Let's see the webcam. Yeah, all the paste might be sticking to it. I think you're right there. It's one of those things where you just don't want to rag on the thing and accidentally rip the thing off. So, yeah, it's just going to go logically now as to... I mean, I'm taking all of these out. I'm not missing any of these. So, in theory, it should just come off. I mean, there are 2 strips of thermal pads around there, which could be causing something. But, I mean, the thermal pads really, they come off quite easily. There's another band of thermal pads here. This is one thing that really irritated me. Can you see, which you will see in a second actually, if I can just prise this off. Prising off is not the way you want to go, to be fair. How is this so stuck on? Super confused right now. I'm going to transition back while I rattle my head around this. Because there's 2 screws up here, but all they're doing is holding on this plate here, which has nothing to... I mean, we are well past that. It's all central to this. It's got to be. It's just stuck on like hell because of the thermal paste and the thermal pads. Which was a great shout on by the sickness. It must be that. I've actually got a G29. And I bought that because I was a child one day. Still a child today, I suppose. But yeah, I bought that and I had great fun with it. I played iRacing for a little bit. I've actually got 1 or 2 videos. Why is this stuck on so bad? That's horrendous. I'm the most confused. I don't want to rag on it. I'm just scared. I mean, I'm not a wimp when it comes to tech. I mean, you can generally rattle around tech quite a lot, but flexing PCBs... peeling the PCB off of the block is not what I was intending. I was hoping it would be the other way around, but I don't want to snap that in half and take it off in pieces, to be fair. So let's get that out of the way because that's just annoying. I think the one thing that's going to do this is just constant pressure and just hope it peels off. And I reckon we should go for a very much closer view on this as it all comes piling off. And we'll also adjust the cam. There you go, that's almost good. No, it went worse. Oh. Any plastic wedge? I have got prying tools, but the problem is I don't know what to pry off. I don't particularly, because no doubt it'll end up scratching. So I'd rather see if I can just pull it off this way. But God, that is stuck on something fierce. Oh, okay. The tip is you give it some shear force across this way. So you squeeze this bit down and that bit up, and you'll end up getting it off. There you go. So I'm just trying to get a good view. So that was it. And it was just... There you go. That was just... I mean, was that those thermal pads? Were those really... I mean, they're clearly doing a very good job. Okay, now here's the difference between EK, in the regard of thermal pads, not necessarily a business practices and things like that. Differences between, this is EK, this is what EK sends you when they send you a water block, and this is what EVGA sends you when they give you a free thermal upgrade kit. So black thermal pads that are pretty damn thick, to be fair, as opposed to your blue thermal pads from EK. I'm not sure if you can make the thicknesses out there, but I think it's better if I do it that way, to be honest. But you can see that these are much thinner than these ones here. And that disappointed me. That really did disappoint me. I don't know why EK would go down that road and put some really thin, bright blue thermal pads in. To me, it just makes no sense. So we've got everything peeled off now. We had a decent spread of thermal paste. It's actually incredible how this in itself, just this block, weighs more than this entire card. It's not that crazy because that's higher density, and clearly it's thicker and all sorts. So yeah, but I mean it is pretty mad when that's pretty much what you buy, as well as the design of the thermal solution, whether it be a water cool block or anything like that. Anyway, I'm going to transition back to this webcam so we don't get too stale. So, now that's sorted, we need to get this out of the way, but I'll keep it on hand so that I've got the thermal pads around. Hopefully this bashing about isn't causing any issues for you guys on the table. Thinner is better, in that regard, yes, thinner is better, but they do squish like hell. They do squeeze out like hell. It's one of those things, it's difficult, because I mean, I had a conversation with somebody in the comments before, and when they were fitting a, was it a Kraken X62, I think, to a GPU, and they ended up getting some copper, thin copper, like, well, I don't know what they call them, because I haven't used them myself, but thin copper plates, to bridge the gap, and they had to thermal paste between them to bridge the gap between the two. So I suppose having these here means you've definitely got a solid contact, whereas having these here means you sort of don't. I mean, you can see, I suppose if I go to the transition here, you can see that these thermal pads here have sort of barely made contact much with their respective component, which is down there. So it is, if they had maybe thicker pads in there, it might actually done a better job of that. But I suppose it's difficult. It's difficult. I suppose it comes down to the manufacturer. I suppose EK perhaps have had better luck with this one, perhaps, and maybe EK have had better luck with a thicker kind. So I don't know, but I kind of do feel that having that thicker kind there means that if there's any excess, the force that you mount these things on will squish it out. I mean, these are extremely stretchy and pliable things. I mean, to be fair, I mean, that just came off and peeled straight off. So, I mean, that's, you know, very malleable material. So, yeah. I'm guessing that's good contact. Don't be putting food on your GPU. No, I think there's a merit to having thick and thin ones. I think it will come down. I mean, the company is not going to send something they feel is an inferior product, and I just stick my thumb in thermal paste. The company is not going to send an inferior product to you. You'd hope so, because they've got a reputation, and I know that there were some comments way back that EK was sort of just living off their reputation and not necessarily amazing components, and I kind of agree. Actually, I kind of think that they've upped their game very lately. But when I bought my radiator to begin with, EK was the thing that, you know, Linus Tech Tips and all that sort of stuff would tout as being amazing. But I found the quality of the radiators was not exactly anything special. It wasn't anything that was blowing me away. I was going to put it on top of the power supply unit, but that's the fan, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put it somewhere else. Run out of room. I'll put it down there. Okay, cool. So I'm hanging these around for a little bit until we've got the air cooler out. Now I'm going to do that under the table. Not because there's anything wrong in there, it's because it's probably going to destroy the microphone in some sense. Speaking of which, how is the audio? I think it was okay. I did about 7 or 8 different test things when I was syncing up the audio with the video. I'm going to transition back, I think. Although I'm kind of thinking the other one was a better view, but no matter. Always going to have some sort of knife on hand, and I'm going to use scissors because otherwise I'll probably end up stabbing the. Let's do a controlled scissor cut rather than a slash it with a knife cut. Which is great, no lag and stuff. Really happy with that, actually. I'm really happy with that, because that really irritated me. I generally don't like to back down to challenges and stuff like that, but that was just getting to me, because I was like half an hour late already, and then I had all this lag stuff coming in from nowhere, and I was, honestly, drives you absolutely nuts. But yes, but I wanted to have something out, and it's actually amazing that you've all turned up, which is fantastic. Oh, Toto Green's going. See, man, he's probably long gone, but thank you so much for coming out and saying hi. I think he's got a lot of work to do. Anyway, so this is the hugely beefy air cooler that EK have with their For the Win edition. It is a very nice looking cooler. I think we need a little bit more of a close up there. It is a very nice looking cooler. A lot of heat pipe action going on there. I'm trying to. Yeah, very cool. I did like this, and it was a shame actually when this had to come off to put the block on, because it's such a cool looking heatsink. Very good. And the backplate is modest. It's not an out there backplate. And that fits my style better. I think that fits my style better than the MSI. MSI cards. If I was going to go for an actual design, I think I'd go for a very slick design such as this. And those have lights in them, LED lights in that there. Those are lit up, and they have colours that go with them, but the LEDs are crap. I'm not going to overblow it as to what it is. The LEDs are actually pretty awful. Okay, cool. So, are we all good with what camera do you use for normal recording? You talking about? I'll wait for your response here. You talking about these webcams? But I presume you're talking about more normal recording as in the videos. Let me know, because otherwise I'll get the camera out if we'll have a little look. I don't want to go ranting on about stuff because I generally go on too much in one direction, so I'm stopping myself. Okay. This might need instructions. Because these are a completely different game. Water coolers are so much easier to put on. Waterblocks are way easier to put on. That's no doubt. The audio be great. Love backplate finish. On this one, yeah, I like it too. It's definitely nice. It is one of those ones where it's you gotta be careful. You don't want to scratch it too much. I mean, did you see the video for the think of that now? I think it's the Fractal Design Node 804 that had that kind of finish all down the front of the entire. Trying to get in view there, all down the front of the entire case. It was curved and it was nice, but damn, those things scratch. They scratch really bad. Funny enough, those are actually fine. I think it's because they've been in a plastic bag and they haven't had any air flowing over them loads, and those are great as well. Right, let's get down to business. Let's see if we can actually stick this all back on. So, I mean, actually, I'm kind of thinking we don't need instructions. Those come off. Block goes on in this regard. Yeah. Block goes on there. Thermal paste, of course. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I'll put... Do I need thermal pads down those areas there? I don't think so. They haven't put any specific requirement for them there, but although I do feel that they do need to be there. Actually, no, they've got that going on there, which is picking up the back. Right, okay, I get it. So we're going to have this going on top here, and then we're going to have the back plate has got these has got the thermal pads on the other side, so it's taking the heat from the back of the MOSFET, all these components for the MOSFET there, or the VRAM which MOSFET's a part of, and it's taking it from the back and actually using the back plate somewhat as a heat sink, which is cool. I mean, it does something. It doesn't do nothing, it does something. Okay, no, great. Are you going to sell that water block? If so, I thought the win as well. I'm not selling. I'm not going to sell a block because I will probably end up going back to it at some point. It would cost too much for me to acquire one, so I want to make sure. It's only just hanging off the edge, by the way. I want to make sure that that I don't end up spending way too much money in the end. Right, I'm trying to. Well, I'll sort chat first out, and then we'll move on. What card are you going to do? Watercool built in. I'm going to be using. Now this is going to be a shock to you lot. Yeah, I'm going to be using the R9390X. And that's going to be on water. We've got the blocks. If you can, no, you can't see. It's under a lot of stuff now. But I've got the blocks. I bought the blocks for the 390X before I bought the GTX 1070 and the blocks for that. It was in 1 week before I did the build for the Fantex N2 Evolve M80X. I ended up buying the GTX 1070 and the block, and then yeah, that came in last minute. But yeah, so we're going to be doing that. It makes sense from a thermal point of view, from a performance point of view. I didn't overclock this pretty much at all. So unless you were going to overclock this, there's not really any benefit to having, a water cooler on it. Because I mean, when I was running this before, thermals were damn good. They, below 70. When playing games and that sort of thing. And playing games is the highest action that this card sees. I don't have any GPU based rendering programs or anything like that. Like I use, funny enough, I use Adobe Premiere Elements. I don't use Premiere Pro because it would just cost too much. So I use Premiere Elements to do my editing, and that doesn't take advantage of your GPU, apart from, you know, the actual just general processing unit, you know, general processing of the application itself, but not for rendering. So yeah. Is that a membrane keyboard? Let me go through all these. What can I use for those? Right, so that those pads from mod front. Those, yeah, those these ones here, yeah, that was added in because the thermal scare, because apparently the VRAM was getting way too hot, and I thought, well, I'd like some thermal pads, even though I wasn't too concerned and I wasn't going to be, you know, overclocking this thing. It's nice to have them. So, you know, it's not a bad thing to have more, so I definitely got them. But yeah, they were from the mod to add to them. But yeah, that was they're nice actually. Anyway, sorry, getting distracted. Do you do EK recommended Tim method on GPU? What was is theirs the whole cross thing? What did I do? I tell you what, can somebody go to that video where we built this and potentially decipher how we did that thermal paste? I think because I was with Joe, and Joe's very practical and Joe's very down to earth, he just went, oh man, just stuck it in the middle. And I mean, it covered the whole thing, so it did a good job. In fact, it didn't just cover the whole thing, it covered it perfectly. No excess there. So, yeah, well, some excess, but, you know, relatively speaking. I think it was just stuck a dot on the middle and went with it. Oh, you got them, did you? Well done. Definitely get them when you can. Let's see. Is that a membrane keyboard? Membrane keyboard, on that note, I thought I saved the footage from when this one died. And these were my MX Cherry Blacks on a Rocket Rios MK Pro. And this keyboard went crazy. This cluster here decided to go a bit crazy. The page up, page down, in particular, went nuts when this thing died. So in Adobe Premiere Elements, page up and page down jumps to the start of a clip and to the end of a clip. And when you try and edit something and it's going like that, you can't, you know, trying to accurately place a cut, you know, when it's going page up, page down is an absolute nightmare. So that died, and I was in the middle of editing. What was I editing? Can't remember. I was in the middle of editing a video. I thought, oh, geez, I need something. So I went to Asda's, and I either bought Asda's a Polaroid keyboard, membrane keyboard, or I bought a Logitech keyboard. And I thought I'd buy the Logitech because then it's a I don't know, it's a well-known company, but obviously the keyboard's, you know, very basic, but it's a known company that I could perhaps do some sort of joke review of. But that never happened. I didn't have enough time to do it. Waiting for the stream all day. Well, thank you very much. Really appreciate the support for that. It's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Let's see. So, because Samuel Gorilla was saying earlier on that, you know, you'd like to have the stream today because it's a bank holiday here in Britain. Now, I'm obviously culturally retarded, so is the bank holiday? Is it outside of the UK? Is anyone else having a bank holiday today, or is that generally is it just a British bank holiday? Do countries try and synchronize bank holidays or things like that, where obviously all the finances get sort of solidified? This is sort of how we round things up. Somebody can let me know if they know. Gotta do it. Hotspots and corners. Yeah, you're probably right there. I mean, really cool if I could actually see and remember how much we put on for this one, because I mean, this was a perfect spread. I'm gonna transition back to here, because I mean, God, that was an absolutely perfect spread. Honestly, because there's a slight delay when I move it a bit further left. It becomes really it goes too far that way, and then I overcompensate because it's a silly delay. Okay. So yeah, sound advisor definitely putting, because there is that cross method, isn't there, across the whole thing. I'm actually gonna unscrew these screws while we're having a little bit of a talk. Logitech K120 certainly is a K120, the mighty K120. It's not really anything mighty about it. Uses a lot of plastic for what it is. What's that? Feels greasy. I don't know. I use a screwdriver. How many GPUs do I have? You've seen them all. Actually, no, that's a lie. I have another beast that's in the cupboard. It's a Sapphire HD 5770. So that's another beast I have, and that's in my first sort of. It was built. It was pre-built, but it was custom. It was from Novatech, where they used to have a shop down here. They actually had local shops. Now they're basically all online, apart from their main warehouses, where I think you can pick stuff up from. But yeah, they were really cool. They had really awesome guys. They had a guy there called Glenn, and he spec'd out Joe's system, which he's still running now. It's going really strong. I think he's running the same system from back. No, he's not. No, he's not. Of course he's not. So it was that was a first generation i7, which I still have in the cupboard. He's running a fourth generation. What's holding Jimmy 2? Awesome. Yeah, as long as it's not conductive, yeah, overspread. I mean, it's obviously going to become conductive at some point, but I mean, they counter for that clearly. As long as it's not the most conductive thing you could possibly get. So I'm going to need to clean that up. I should start. I'm sort of delaying doing this for some reason. I think procrastinating seems a little bit safer. Okay. So, just working things out now in my head, making sure I'm getting, because those two panels there are screwed together. Now, I don't know whether that's because we need to unscrew them, put them in together in a different orientation, or whether it's because that's the way it's supposed to be. I'm trying to logically think it through. One thing I'm not a fan of is... Oh, I've had the wrong camera pulled in. Am I going to waterblock the R990X in a stream? It depends. I'll do this, and then what we'll do is we'll have a vote on it. Do you want the water cooler? Do you want me to put the water block on there? It's not going to be particularly productive for the channel, but it will have to happen at some point, so I suppose may as well do it now. Or do we want to do some CPU cooler swaps and stuff like that, and do some thermal testing, check out the new thermal testing graphs, that sort of thing. It's up to you. I might be doing a stream tomorrow as well, so we might go through some CPU stuff tomorrow, and I might do a few to start off with, and then once I've sort of solidified, maybe made some tweaks to the way we're going to be doing thermal testing and the graphs and stuff we have, I will. I shouldn't drink over hardware. I nearly spilt that then. Okay, so let's do this. Let's stop procrastinating. Let's get this sorted. No, those need to come apart. That's definite. That was nowhere near as easy as I thought it was in my head. And is that going to be... Yeah, okay. Okay, what if I change to a camera that is actually useful for you guys? We're just going to see the tests and how you do that. Well, let's put it this way. Let's say tomorrow, if we don't get around to doing the test tomorrow, let's give you some options, because I want to make sure you guys, if you're getting what you want to see. If I can do a stream at roughly sort of the same time tomorrow, and it doesn't have to be the world's biggest stream. I mean, it could even just be one CPU cooler, because that's one thing I haven't done, is I haven't got the Intel cooler, which I was going to try and get out of the cupboard, because you know it would be cool to get an Intel stock cooler in the mix. And one thing that would be really cool is if I moved the camera a bit. And I'm trying to lower it very, very quietly, because I know the mic is right next to it, and that's probably caused enough headaches for you guys already. So yeah, okay, sorry, I've sort of got distracted then. I want to show you guys what you want to see, which is why I moved the camera. And also, if we want to look into the if we want to do the cooler, if we want to put on the new block, we'll put on the new block. But let me know, you guys, whoever, if you want to see, if you definitely want to see the CPU cooler stuff, and we don't get around to it today, are you going to be around tomorrow? Because I will stream it if you are, and I will, and that will hopefully then, hopefully please everyone, and then everybody gets what they want. Do an overclocking live stream. I'll have to do an overclocking live stream at some point. I think everyone needs to do an overclocking live stream at some point. Considering I've actually got a laptop as well that is capable. I mean, have we dropped any frames? 0 frames dropped. We're working on a laptop. It's a hell of a laptop. Oh my god, there's so many. See, there's 7 people in the chat, and I'm getting overwhelmed with the amount of conversation going on. Looks like cool looks boss. It certainly does. Absolutely. It's nicely styled as well. It's not over the top. Not a fan of over the top coolers. Quite like the Nvidia coolers, but the problem with the Nvidia coolers, I find in their style, is that unless you're gonna do more of an angular theme with the stock coolers, the stock heatsinks, then because they're extremely angular, then it's gonna be quite hard to match things up. I mean, how do you match angular RAM? I suppose this kind of style of cooler is very very sort of contemporary in that regard. Been looking down and doing screwdriver stuff, so I'm not entirely sure. So many screws. There are so many screws. Looks like a laptop cooler. If you look at it from, yep, certainly does. Certainly does. Is it gonna come out now? Yes, it is. Right. So this is why we definitely needed to take. There's 1 screw left. Yeah, there is 1 screw. No. Yes, there is. It's down there. Magnetic screwdrivers giveth and taketh away. Yeah, it really is a beautiful matte finish. Certainly agree there. But they got the part number on the top. And you can't remove it because you'd void the warranty. Why? Ooh, that's weird. Sorry, that was a bit of an overreaction to that. I'm running out of space. Right. K120, do your thing. Yes. Okay. There was originally, you can see here, that to your left here is a cutout. That's actually blank panel straight through, and you can see here it's going to be like a sort of alien thing. You can see here that you can actually poke through. That looks really weird on the camera. Like you can just have some sort of beast coming through. But I shouldn't do that. It's getting sticky fingers all over it. But yeah, you can see that was all the way through. That was the original cooling strategy. But now what they've done is you've got a thermal pad there and thermal pad here. And like the Sickness was saying earlier on, the thicker ones aren't actually necessarily better. And I think in this instance here, I might agree with you on that one. Very much so in this case, because you've got a layer here. Then it's got to go from the first layer into the aluminium here, and then through this thermal spreader or thermal pad, which is in essence a thermal spreader that goes through to the back plate. So yes, not entirely super efficient, but yeah, I'm gonna prop that up there and work out what the next step is. Okay, so I put that there. So this needs to go. Which way was it? It needs to go somewhere. Can we look at incompetence now? That certainly looks like the way it should go. Although it's not going to attach that. So okay, that's definitely Running out of room. Gonna... That didn't work. Alright, it's done. Move that across. Yeah, no damage. Cool. Put it on PCB first, yeah. I literally just trying to work out that myself. So that there is going that way round, so this strip is going onto there. And it dodges everything else. But I want it to drop into its slot, which... There you go. Is that in place? Oh, there's this screw. Of course there is. Instructions would probably be a good idea for me on this one. Not every day I swap things around. It is the hottest in this room. I actually kind of think that doing thermal testing here is probably going to push me over the brink. What am I doing? There you go. Okay. Now those screws there, are they accessible through? Yeah, they are. So, logically thinking through this, so those screws are all going to go up from the underside there and hold it in place. We've got two screws in here, which I'm wondering what their purpose is. I really should get a manual for this, but yeah, probably works out. Okay, so that's there. That is in the right place. Yes, it is. So this is completely new with me. This was supposed to be a quick thing. It's not. There you go, and then that'll sit right on top there. Or am I the biggest idiot ever? I don't think I am. I think that's correct. Hey, April Fool's prank. I thought you were actually quitting YouTube. Yeah. It's the best April Fool's prank I've ever done. I mean, the idea was great. Didn't stress anyone out. Getting that done last minute, though. Took that out of me. These lamps are so freaking hot at the moment. I gotta show you this. Just as a bit of a... This is ridiculous. I'm recording with these two. Absolutely sweating here. But I need to do it so I've got some good lighting down on you know, so I've got lighting coming from here and around there and it's all well done rather than an atrocity. Absolutely sweating. Ugh. Right. Okay, so. Now why is that screw there? That screw... There are some screws in GPU blocks which I look at and I think, why do you exist? I just think, why do you exist? Because it doesn't appear that those screws are actually of any worth. Or are they? I don't know. But I've seen some screws in GPU blocks. I just think, why on earth do you exist? Because you just don't seem to clamp down onto anything. Alright, that's coming out. That's coming out as well. I have a feeling I'm going to be a screw or two down after this, to be honest. It's looking that way. Alright, every screw is coming out. I think I should live stream with the sickness. You can tell me how to run my channel. You think he's got a better idea of it than I do. Okay. Is everything clear? Is nothing going to clash with anything? Of course there's something that's going to clash. Right. That can go there. Decided. this here needs to come out. Oh, why do I have to take that out? Seems so painful. Can't open a window. I can open a window, but I just have a feeling it's gonna get noisy. I'm gonna do that actually, because I think otherwise I might faint from dehydration. Dehydration, I'm still sweating, mind you. If the temperature cooled down, I wouldn't sweat so much though. Not a good idea when you react. No, you react to my mistakes and then you tell me that I'm making mistakes and then I make fixes to those mistakes. You run this channel, you don't realise. I'm pretty sure there's some paperwork somewhere saying that. Well, I suppose if you can put a GPU block back together without having instructions and only of doing it once, that's not a bad idea. That's not a bad way to go. I think that it shows a level of competence. Not sure if it's competent, but it is competence of sorts. Right. So that's that panel. This panel, okay. This panel's going on first. Reducing the level of incompetence by putting this panel back on first. No, I'm not. That's increasing the incompetence. So then I can't access these screws. Right, let's get the heatsink on. I don't know where to put things because they're just going to stick to things. Right. What's the difference between a 1080 and a 1080 Ti? Clock speed, surely. Okay. That panel first, then this, then I'm in good shape. Otherwise the heat spreaders make absolutely no sense. I have to buy the sickness of plane ticket so we can come and do this for me. Help! Right, so, okay, let's go close-up cam. Let's get close-up cam into position. And then go close-up cam. It might move because there's a screwdriver in the way. Now there's not. Right. So, close-up cam. It's so hard trying to angle this without looking terrible. Okay, there we go. It's kind of focusing. You can see that there's a screw in there, or can you see that there's a screw in there? It's just stopping the this panel from going back on. It's just these little things which it would help if I reverse engineered the manual from the UK Waterblock, but you know, timing. Yes, yeah. Spot on. Is that seriously actually how it works? Because ripping these things off is so easy, because you just like, oh, unscrew every screw you've got. And then when you realise that something falls apart, you put the screw back on. Right. That goes down there. Okay. Why am I doing the same thing 6 times? It's because I do something, realise something, then I look at chat, and then I realise I'm an idiot. Okay. You know what? We're actually going to completely get rid of this here, this plate. Oh, no we're not. No we're not. I can't be bothered. I'll do as much as I have to do. I'm just going to get it out of the way just so it's super, super, super easy. Right. Is that going to sit down? Is it going to whinge at me now? Is there going to be any complaining? No. Good. That's a hair. That probably is not going to help with thermals. Yeah, yeah. I think I'm with you on that one. I think it is going to go straight through there and hold it all together in one. So that's there. If you can hear my stomach grumbling, I apologise. I did try to eat before I came on stream, but I didn't eat at a very good time. Right. if I did that, would that be the most stupid thing I've done? I'm going to say maybe. Why is it a pain in the butt? Okay. This goes on first. I screw that in second. Sorry, I'm not even like involving you. Because there's a set of screws in the center there that need fixing too. What does that fix to the corners? And the corners are still free for when I do that. Yep, that's how it goes. We'll get there, we'll get there. Building computers really isn't as tricky as some people make out. I know that sort of devalues what I do, or what I'm doing with this channel, but in reality, once you get the idea and you're like, oh right, you know, that's how it works, then everything's fine. As long as you've got a competent memory. So let's just put in screws that would appear to make sense with the locations as to where they're going in. I think when it comes to most things, actually, there's a life lesson. Although it's not a life lesson, because actually things are way more complicated than coming up with a life lesson and saying it's a life lesson, and then assuming people should just follow that rule as if it was actually a good idea. Generally, with things like this especially, if you're struggling as to work out what to put into where and how it all fits together, and you're just not making a decision or a movement purely because you're unsure, now that doesn't look good. Actually, it looks better. Nope, cool. Yeah, if you're not sure about certain things, then starting somewhere and going wrong is better than not starting somewhere because you're scared of going wrong. And I think it's a pretty much a universal truth. But, you know, obviously there are certain things like you can't just be like, oh, well, I want to change career, and then you just leave your job, because that's not the best starting what you could have done. You can start somewhere better. So once I've put all these screws in, I may realise that some need to come out. Sorry, I saw that message a while back about the coding sanctuary. I just got a refund on it. Yeah, that was just... I was starting out. I was young, naive. It's a game I used to play, actually. Not young and naive. That's an easy game. Anyone can win that. No, have anyone ever played Stronghold 2? I know me and Joe used to play that quite a lot. Anyway, the Coding Sanctuary, yeah, basically got a refund on that one. In some cases, I have had situations with cases where it's really irritating trying to make sentences sometimes when you're talking about a case and you're writing the script and you're like, well, I can't say case because I know it's a situation and the case is the same word for that, but I mean, this is just going to sound stupid if I carry on having to say the word case. But in some situations with some cases, there's damage to them, and I know, check with the backplate ones. I know. Yeah, most of these are wrong. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix this onto here, fix the actual cooler onto it, and then I'm going to unscrew what I need to unscrew and put that back on and sandwich it like that. Because then at least I've got all of the sort of bases covered, so I know exactly where I need to fix things to for the main cooler. It's a bit of a roundabout way of doing it, but I haven't actually got much brain power right now to focus properly. So I'm trying to keep up with chat and everything. So I'm going to do 2 steps rather than 1, as it were, and hope that it works. Well, it's going pretty well so far. I do want to do at some point a roundup of the stuff I use to do videos and stuff, because there's certain bits of, not necessarily like graphics cards and stuff like that, but I mean tools like this screwdriver. Having a screwdriver that can do that is just an absolute no-brainer if you're going to be building systems quite a lot, if you're going to be doing anything quite a lot, and having one that has a really weak torque and many different positions to the to the whatever. My brain's gone. To the ratchet makes a huge difference. Wholeheartedly recommend one. I only bought this one on Amazon for about £15–20, and it's got some like 44 ratchets for one turn, which is pretty good. Okay, and there's one down there. Screw it, we're doing them all. We're doing them all. One thing I was going to say earlier is that I cannot stand, and I'm probably going to say this in pretty much every live stream, because your mind just wanders into things you do like and don't like, and you just sort of express them, because it is essentially like talking to yourself. It's like if I was stranded on a desert island and I didn't want to go mad, you would end up just talking to yourself. One thing I can't stand is when people in comments will say, I had some guy saying, lol, install the power supply incorrectly, lol. And I was like, well, I didn't put the screws in incorrectly, and I didn't bash it into everything and take the power supply out. What I did is I put the fan, having the intake was fan side up, and it was intaking from the central of the case, and it was exhausting outside. It was essentially another exhaust to the case and to the fan. And the guy's just like, lol. Just like, shut up. Shut up. If it works, it works. And that's really it. Can you change the fan in the sanctuary? I could change the fan in the sanctuary, but I'd have to get a fan. And if I send it off to them and say, oh, well, this one's broken and I get a sanctuary back, then by the time it comes to it, water cooling that is going to be a little bit difficult. Plus, back then, I'm actually thinking back then to the size of that case and its dimensions. I'm wondering if even fitting in that large reservoir I have would have even worked, because I mean, 2 seconds. I mean, fitting in that, which is, you know, good size of the GPU, onto that, you can see the issues that you're going to come across. It's just a big piece of kit, and fitting it in potentially might not have worked. So, yeah. It might be able to fit with the new top, but you know, back then and even still today, spending £30 on just on a small component just to remove the reservoir from a pump is just something I look at and just think, is that really, you know? Did I just transition to the same thing? No. Yeah, I was like, spending £30 on a small component. You just think, is that really a viable use of spending £30? Is it gonna, you know, bring me possibilities I could never have thought of, and all sorts of things like that? And the likelihood is, nah, probably not. But now, because I'm doing mini ITX builds, and I have, you know, I did earn a little bit of money on YouTube, justifying, you know, spending £30 on a small top to remove that reservoir is actually somewhat worth it. So yeah, I'm going to be putting in this screw here. So that is where that screw came from before. What I'm actually going to do as well is swap things around. Sorry if this disorients any of you. If any of you are watching in VR, nobody's watching VR. Okay, so the screw is going back through here, and it did come with a nut, which is over here. So I'm going to have the screw go in there and the nut be the other side, and it'll hopefully all be okay. I'm just trying to make sure the screw is going to go onto the magnetic screw bit, so I can actually get it through. Oh, it doesn't actually even need a nut, because it has one built in. Perfect. So where did that nut come from? Oh god. Where did the nut come from? Questioning life. Where did the nut come from? Anyway. D5 is so big in a small... It is a big cooler, no doubt. Yeah, the thing is, it is so much bigger than some of the really cool ones, like the Alpha Cooler. Have they got the... is it the IPS cooler? Pump? Is that it? I see a lot of Alpha Cool adverts nowadays. I prefer seeing Alpha Cool adverts over like Betfred. And like casino adverts. I hate seeing casino adverts. I always dislike those. I mean literally dislike them. Not like figuratively dislike them. Let's change to... Yeah, you can have a little look at my wrist. We'll stop that. Okay. Okay, feeling good. That's one step sorted out. Actually started, my big push for starting to do live streams. Oh, that's not very tidy. Look at heatsink. Look at that pipe. Oh, jeez, it looks like it's had a bit of a war in there. Honestly, I have all these lights, and then the camera decides, you know what? Don't really like much light. I'll just overcompensate. But yeah, no, so, actually started, one of the push to actually start doing this was based, I was watching somebody who does World of Tanks videos, which I like the game World of Tanks. I actually find it quite fun. In a, you know, sort of it's slower. I'm not that quick. I'm not one for Twitch shooters that much. I like the tactics. I love tactics games, but they just take a long time. Whereas World of Tanks doesn't take much time at all. But somebody used to play who does play World of Tanks, Quickie Baby, was building his dream build, and the thing looked amazing. But I was watching his build, and he had cables coming through the main compartment of the case. And you think with a dream build, no, route it behind and then route it through and stuff like that, and it looked like an absolute nightmare. So I kind of wanted to do, well, I could do some streaming stuff, you know, doing bits of tinkering bits like this. I mean, it really is logical. You know, if you think you can do something and it fits, then that's how it should be, as far as I'm concerned. Cool, this all works. Okay, now what we're going to do is stop procrastinating and install this. Is that seriously all that holds that on? You've got to be kidding me. All that holds this to that is 4 screws. Okay, before we do that, we're actually going to clean off that thermal paste. That's crazy. 4 screws. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Okay, and what I'm going to do is very seamlessly transition to, hello, there, so I can... I pulled the... No. There you go, cool. So I can seamlessly transition this pole down a little bit more, and obviously you can't hear the sliding through the microphone. It's not as seamless as I would love it to be, but it is something. Okay, just bringing it in a little bit closer, just so you guys have got a little bit more to see. You can actually see it there. I thought you couldn't see it. Well, that's yeah, that is what it is. Okay, awesome. So right, we were where we were at. We were cleaning. Normally have the springs on them. Yep, they're right here. Can you see them? Yeah, they're right there, the ones with the springs. But it's crazy though, only 4. You'd think with such a weight, I mean, I know it's going through to the main PCB, you'd think, well, why don't we have a couple here, and then maybe one up there. Maybe use that one up there. But they don't. Have I bashed that as well? I have. Because, I mean, that's the biggest bit of, that's the heaviest piece. You want the most security for the heaviest piece, and you could probably remove one of these, the 2 of these screws, and be okay with that. Yeah, 4 screws. Unbelievable. Okay, sorry, I gotta catch up. D5, yeah, D5 DDC pump. I really want to, because I did that water cool shopping basket video, and I really wasn't happy with the way that came out. But you know when you go too far down the rabbit hole and you think, well, I'd be buggered if I try and get out of it. You think, right, well, I've edited this, it's an hour long. Do I just... The only way you'd be able to cut that down is by redoing the whole damn thing. And you think, right, do I bin it or do I post it? And I chose on that instance to post it. And I haven't actually binned many videos, in all honesty. I don't think I've actually binned any videos. I might have. While I'm running around like headless chicken, you may as well see me run around like headless chicken. One thing I find really good actually is, can you see from over there? Yeah. These boxes from IKEA. They're not the coolest looking boxes, and they're not the best for storing stuff. I mean, they are a box, but they're not the most efficient way you can store anything. But they have lids, and these lids I use for everything, from taking things from one part of the room to the other, just a tray for storing crap. I've actually got one lid that's holding certain stuff for builds. You might be able to see, yeah, you can see on the top of the QS240 over there. there's a lid holding all the parts for the QS240. It's just holding them there. They're really good, and you can obviously wipe them down, super easy, and yeah, have them on the side somewhere easy to throw stuff, which I'll do over here, out of view. And yeah, those are really good. So if you're looking to do stuff like that, then that is an option for you to consider when you're planning your room reorganizing. And that table I got there, that came in from my mum wasn't actually using that table. She decided she didn't want to use it anymore. She was like, well, what am I going to do with it? I was like, I'll have it. Stick it up on the on there, and it does a really good job. But I'd love to show you the bowing of it. The Boeing 747? No. I'd love to show you the bow that it has. It's as if the weight of all those cases is causing a lot of an issue, but the cases don't weigh anything, really. I just think it's somehow settled in that state. Maybe for length compensation, freaking cool. You have one point of contact. Good point, I suppose. Yeah, good point. If you've just want to work that over a little bit. Yeah. So you're talking on thermal expansion, which that is actually a fairly solid point. Yeah, I mean we would only be talking millimeters, but stress on the PCB of millimeters is actually a big deal. You know, I mean, imagine extending one of these tracers by 1 millimeter. Like, you'd kill it, absolutely kill it. So yeah, that is actually an extremely solid point, and because that's such a solid block as it is, the thermal expansion of that is going to be quite low because it's you know it's more of a dense area, but because these are thinner, they got a larger surface area, the room for expansion is going to be higher. We also need to make sure we plug in the fans because this thing has not been running on fans for a long time. Okay, slowing down a bit. Sorry, guys. I think I've missed a couple here. EK set as block was shorter. Yeah, it was a shorter block. Was it a shorter block? Yes, it was actually very slightly smaller. I think it makes sense for me to first. Yeah, I think that is actually logically what it does make sense. One thing I hate about spraying this sort of stuff is that I'm not sure. I haven't actually used isopropyl alcohol before because I don't know, lazy or something. I don't know. No, I just never had it to hand. And you go to a store, electronics cleaner. Does that clean electronics, sir? Yes, it does. Fantastic. I'll have some. Yeah, this stuff leaves actually a little bit of a like watermarks, as it were, and I'm pretty sure I could clean that off with isopropyl alcohol. Pretty sure there'll be people complaining. Well, not in this stream. People are generally a little bit logical. I actually find that I've got a very logical. I don't know if following is the word to call it because that sounds a little bit sinister, to be honest. The following, but I've got quite a lot logical subscriber base. They don't seem to be raving idiots who feel there's only one way of doing things. And I know that me actually rubbing this with tissue paper is not necessarily the best way to do things, but it is a way of doing it, and it's a way that actually works, and it works surprisingly well. But all these little bits of thermal paste are a nightmare. Luckily, this electronics cleaner is actually doing a good job of breaking the thermal paste down. I don't want to do too much, otherwise it's going to overspill. Could use window cleaner, or use brake cleaner. Awesome! There we go. Got to dab them out because it's a very tight area here. See if I actually got. Have I got a box? Oh yeah, have you seen my? No, you haven't seen that yet. There we go. There's a. I think I've actually got a box, and I brought a box with me for the sole purpose of potentially needing it. One thing I should do is remove. Sorry. Remove the sticker for obvious reasons. Oh, let me do that in a second. I've actually got a really interesting setup. You saw it earlier on. And okay, let's transition to webcam on the go. So webcam on the go. This is my setup. So we have a box here, and then we have inside on the top of this box, or the bottom base, there is a box inside here, which is adding a sort of a bit of travel for the box above it. And then this is all wobbling and is sort of, yeah, teetering on the edge of the center. So it's all sort of in a equilibrium of forces, keeping everything in relative harmony. So it's all balanced. And then I haven't got any rooms for any more USBs. 3 USBs here. We got the 2 cameras. We got the mic. We've got the mouse there, and we have the audio, which is just an audio jack, well, obviously, where I can just listen to the audio which I synced up to begin with. But I've run out of USB ports now. There's not another one over there, so I can't have a keyboard. So that's a little bit of the struggles I'm facing, the hardship. Somebody's overcooked their food. I hear an alarm going off. Okay. I'm actually really liking this setup. Joe, if you're still on here, I will make you an offer for your camera. No, I don't. If I get myself a camera, I'll buy another one. So, the reason I was getting the box was so I could put something that was a little bit shorter in here. Just so I can give you a little bit more of a close-up on the goings-on with this. And this is why I gotta say, best mouse. Logitech G602, best mouse. Wireless up to 3 meters. It literally lasts forever, and it runs on AA batteries, and I use rechargeable AA batteries, which have just the most capacity on them. I think they're 2400 milliamp hours for AA batteries is pretty solid. You can run it on one or both because the way they've wired it so it loops back around and picks it up the other way around and follows it in a series like that rather than another way around, which is really cool. So yeah, really well designed this piece of kit. And yeah, the one battery on there will last me absolutely months of use. It's crazy. They quote like 100 and something odd hours of use, or 1,000 hours or something. I can't remember what the stat is. Whatever it is well above the competition. And yeah, that came out ages ago. We're breaking away at it very slowly. It is so nice to see at the end once you've done these. I'll give you a bit of a closer look. Sort of breaking away at the thermal paste very slowly. It does leave watermark things on the edges, which is good that you can't see them, because that would be annoying. So you can just get rid of that. See, cleaning it up right now is actually in vain, because I need to make it more messy before I clean it up. Just like everything needs to be made way more messy before you actually get anywhere. So like when I start cleaning anything, I have to go down the whole road, the whole 9 yards, clear the room out, get the bed out. No, I don't go that far, jeez. Let's have a little look. Sorry, I'm looking at I don't know whether it's oh, I changed the mouse thing there. Oh, there's plenty of buttons on the mouse as well, which is fantastic. I've got loads of buttons on the side, plenty for what I need. 6 buttons on the side, 2 buttons there. You can configure any of them to whatever you like. They got a fast response and a slow response setting for eco-friendly stuff, for so you don't wear your battery out too much. Amazing mouse. Okay. I'm just catching up with chat. I'm not sure whether catching up with chat is good that I changed to this camera, because you're just watching me look at it into like the middle distance or something. Like I'm some sort of action hero character that's just thinking. I think it makes sense. Sorry, break. Are you getting the decool TriStar from Facebook? No. I would, but it's just not very interesting, funnily enough. I saw the Quad Stellar. Is that a new one they did, or did that come out with a Tri-Stellar? I don't know. They're just not very interesting. And that sounds odd, because they look cool, but they haven't got any innovation going on as such. I mean, they do in the layout. Don't get me wrong. I'm not being snobby. Oh, it costs so much. I'm just gonna be like, well, you can get all that out of a budget one. Well, you can't get all that out of a budget one. They've got some interesting stuff going on there, but it's just not. I mean, the water cooling capability is crap. You could have set that up a bit better, but in all honesty, if you wanted to make that a bit better, you'd have to make it a lot more expensive. If the reason for the cost is the manufacturing mainly, not just the design of it. So yeah, I don't know. I was gonna look into it, but because there wasn't much capability for water cooling, I'm not gonna get a case that costs over £100 if I can't water cool in it as well. So that's kind of a general rule. Yeah, goes for about 200. Yeah, I'm not gonna spend more than that because I think if can anyone else hear that? Yeah, you can definitely hear that. It's some sort of chopper or something. It's a chopper. But yeah, I just can't. I can't justify it, and I kind of don't think that selling something for that much. It's gonna go away. I hope it goes away. Selling something for that much and not having the ability to properly water cool it is just, yeah. What was that? That was a chopper or something. I doubt it's army. I mean, there are, bases around. But, yeah, I doubt it's anything to do with the army. I think it's probably... Or is it a plane? I don't know. I'm pretty sure I just covered my entire desk in spit. Contact cleaner, really good stuff. Sounds good to me. Yeah, that definitely clean it. It's going to go in your eye. It's probably going to work fine with some electronics. Although, mind you, saying that doesn't actually strictly make any sense. They look awesome. They do look awesome. They do look awesome. That's why I looked at it and went, whoa, the price discount on that. Because I look through PC Part Picker quite regularly just to see what's going on, just to see if there's any particularly interesting deals going on anywhere. And that one looked really cool, and it was severely reduced compared to what other places are selling it for. But yeah, just couldn't justify it. I don't know, if you guys can guarantee me lots and lots of views for them. I'm joking. Have I got the wrong camera on? Yes, I do. Like a pro. Let's change that back. I want to clean this up properly. I don't want to be a super anal about it, but I mean, and if I was monetized, that would be gone just for using that word. But I don't want to get super anal. But I mean, the thing looks disgusting. I mean, have a look at that. Oh, so shiny you can barely see. Actually, if I just do that, it's gonna be dull as hell then. Yeah, look, it's disgusting. It's got all sorts of crap on it. Hoping these thermal pads are holding out. Because I really should not have this much exposure, to be fair. Should be sort of be... I'm trying not to spray too much because it's just going to end up covering the plate in some horrible stuff, and I don't want to have to clean it out. Right, I think that's good enough. I think that's good enough. Do a quick blast, just covering everything, and then we'll just wipe it all off. It sounds to me, if you can pick up the sound of it, because I'm not putting full pressure on it. It sounds to me like a rocket taking off. Not the plane, by the way, the squirting of this nozzle. Oh, see, that's going there. Is that gonna... Using my left hand so you can see better. Aren't I just the best streamer? Hello, Paul Hamilton. How are you doing? Well, that's one thing I've never noticed. I've never noticed that before, and I will tell you in a second. Once I just finish cleaning this little bit. This is concentration. This is me. This is how I work for hours and hours and hours when I do videos. Can you see? I'm going to try and steady it so much so that you can actually definitely see it. Look at the top left of this PCB. You see that golden triangle? They have them for GPUs as well. It's not very surprising, I should never noticed before. I thought that was quite cool. Have you seen the new Fantex M2 Evolve Flow Edition? No. No, I want to see that. I'll have to check that out after this stream. Come take your NASA stuff. NASA stuff? I'm trying to work out what that means. Does that mean got a NASA thing over there? That was pretty cool, actually. I made a I made one. I built a NASA jigsaw puzzle, and I framed it because it took so long. I'm not gonna give that up. Way too long for me to give it up. It took far too long for Fantex to release a fix for the airflow for standard. Is that why? Interesting. Because I was wondering, because my water cooling, well, I wasn't wondering, I knew. I was the water cooling I did from the Fantex M2 Evolve was nowhere near as strong as it really should have been. Right, we're now prepared to actually put this on, so I think I'm going to try and do it this orientation, because we've got to clip the fans in position. Let's see. I'd zoom in, but I'd have to open up a settings thing, and oh my god. So we're gonna need. There's these two fan points up. If I can center, there's two fan points, one there and one there, and they need to go right into there. What I'm gonna do first before we do all this is actually give this a clean up as well, just to make sure we've got the best. Only the best on AV Techy. I don't actually necessarily like the use of the word tech for my channel. Techy. I don't really like techy. The E bit makes it sound a little bit weak, to be honest, to me. But it is techy. It's techy stuff. God, look how much cleaner it makes it. Oh, can you get a shot of that? Can you see that? Can you see the centers much cleaner and shinier than the outside? I'm going to do it all like that now. Let's see. Cougar QBX is a good budget M96 case. I've heard of the Cougar cases. I've seen a few. They look interesting. Sorry, I'm doing it again. I'm doing the. I'm looking at stuff and I'm just leaving you watching random stuff down there. So CPU packages the same as GPUs. They just came without a motherboard and come with an IHS. Yep, sounds very plausible. Yeah, because obviously they just send that package over to the board manufacturers, and then they create their boards for them. The Evolve Flow doesn't too bad. Like a rage flashes. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I'd check it now, but I mean, yeah, I'd love. At some point, this stream is gonna be more than just me with the laptop and whatever. It'll eventually, but to be fair, this is the second stream, so in terms of technicalities, let's not expect too much. But I definitely will like to be able to have, like, you know, switching scenes and stuff, constantly having buttons and stuff to be able to do it. What I like is, I'm pretty sure quite a few of you in the stream have heard of surface tension with water. And I've not switched the screen again, sorry. Surface tension with water, and for that, I'm punishing both yourself and myself by me doing that again. Surface tension with water, essentially where, I don't know the huge technical terms for it, but essentially where the water will just sit on top, and because it has its own tension as a I don't know, as a volume of liquid, it won't just spill right over the edge of something, so it can go right up to the edge and not spill over the edge, and that's why because it has this surface tension. It's very cool. But it's like tension in anything else, really. Tension in a solid, like a beam, there's tension to it, but obviously it just works slightly differently. So yeah, that is like battered to hell though. That heat pipe, but I suppose whatever works. Right, rubbish. I hadn't evolved for about 6 months and got so close to finding a local metal shop to cut some kind of. Honestly, I've done it again. Right, honestly, I really should post my designs. I went around to actually. Here's a thing. Okay, I can only find. That's annoying. I've got all sorts of email correspondence, but I went and got quotes. Got a quote from Cardiff Glass. I got a quote from Right Glass for a side panel design, a side panel window design that was going to have the AD Techy logo on it. It was going to have. It was going to be the perfect cutout shape of the side window, which has that sort of kink in the center. And then it was going to have sandblasted, a sandblasted sort of perimeter, but with a larger bit of a sack at the bottom to go over the basement section. But it would be the same perimeter then as it was like the free area of that side panel. And then I'd have the LED lighting would hit this sandblasted surface and diffuse a little bit more than it would naturally or normally by itself. Obviously, if it's going straight through a clear glass window, it's not going to diffuse much, but it would diffuse a lot more with this sandblasting. And then the logo in the center would be sandblasted. It was going to look so good, but I came back and the cheapest quote I had was £100, and no, I had it all in AutoCAD and everything. I had the sort of schematic, as it were, ready to go. They could probably just put it right onto a machine, and then obviously they'd have to work out the colors and stuff as to how the machine would work out what's what, but it was pretty much there and done for them, rather than them having to design anything themselves. Persuasion in front and the top. I'm completely lost on the conversation. I think a few things have gone over my above my chat and there. Right, let's stop procrastinating. We're nearly 2 hours, and all we've managed to do is remove a block and nearly assemble a block. So clearly, I think I'm probably going to be finishing up in about maybe 15 minutes. So we're going to get nowhere near anything else because 15 minutes, maybe half an hour. I'll give it half an hour, I think. But if we can speed through, we can perhaps just at least take a look at the graphs ready, and then we can all have a little bit of discussion as to what we want to do in terms of maybe a live stream tomorrow, maybe not. Either way, it's not going to be cutting in much to and a video that I'd be doing anyway. I need to get thermal paste, so it's somewhere. Oh, I am on the right view as well. Me running around. There we go. There it is. There you go. 65 grams of thermal paste. If I had a normal thermal paste tube around, I'd show you in comparison. But a normal thermal, the small ones you get are only about that big, and they're absolutely minuscule. But this one's just an absolute monster. But I thought, it's £20 for 65 grams, so it's gonna get used. To be fair, we've used a fair amount of it already. Right, thermal paste. What kind of application do people want to go for? A few washers somehow, add a bit of breathing room. Yeah, yeah. Oh, okay, I'm with you now. Yeah. Yeah, it was difficult, yeah. Did anyone here see the video I did where I 3D modelled in SketchUp the whole, the entire Fantex N12 Evolve M80X case? And, just as I was coming, to the end of doing that, I realised that... Oh, I didn't realise that... I realised, and I think they were announced that they were having a new one made, or something like that. And I was just like, I spent 3 weeks, every day I came home from work, I spent for 3 weeks modelling intricately everything with a micrometer, with a digital vernier caliper. And it was an absolute pain. But yeah, I 3D modelled it. I think it's still on the channel somewhere. And then I did a little tutorial as well as to how to SketchUp, because I was thinking, Christ, I'm not sending this out. And people going, oh, that's nice, how do you use it? And get a million different comments about that. So I did that as well. That was an absolute pain, absolute trial doing that. Yeah. You can order the side panel from Fantex Direct. The new one. Yeah, the new one definitely would be the. It wouldn't do the old one thing. Mounting holes don't quite line up though. Okay. Yeah. I'm with you. One thing I really like with the Core P3 is they have that option because they with the case they give you a an acrylic side panel window, and it does cost like £110 I think that case or that chassis. But if I think most people when they look at the case from the outset and they go, well, it doesn't come with a tempered glass side panel window, so and it's over £100. That's a little bit stingy. But damn, I think I've said every single time I've mentioned this case, it's built like an absolute tank. It's like 1mm thick steel all round. And that's, if that's not strong enough, it's got like 3mm thick steel angles in all the corners. And then it's got like a 3mm thick steel panel with all the VESA mounts to wall mount it. I mean, you could put some sort of... if you could get one that would hold it, you could have a triple monitor mount, like gas spring triple monitor mount, and have one of these on there as like this floating object connected off to your monitors. That would look amazing, but it's possible technically. But if you need to be able to take the weight, and it weighs a lot. An X. I saw an X. Well, we'll do an X then. Made in Taiwan. Not surprising at all. Right, shall I transition back and we can have a little bit more of a look? Obviously moving it during the recording of it is not good, but it is what it is. Yeah, definitely if you're going to go for it, buying it from the manufacturer for $30, definitely. £30 or regional equivalent. Yeah, you can for £35 for the Core P3, you can get a tempered glass side panel with it. These need. Trying to remember how much do these things need? They need a fair bit, don't they? Because I've seen them. You've seen them. You must have seen them where they go across and then they do like a Union Jack style cross across the whole thing, and you think that's a bit excessive. So I'm gonna put a healthy amount on. Okay. Now, does that seem like a competent amount to you guys? Don't do GPU blocks on and off all the time. So I was wondering. Actually, can I get... There you go. I know it's my face in the reflection, but it just means that there's some sort of background. Does that look like a competent amount of thermal paste for you? Too much, too little? Don't think it's too much. Never too much. Just spread it. Can't I just squish it down and it'll spread it itself? Pretty sure that's what we did last time. I'll, you know what I'm going to do? Do I just squish it down? Because I'm pretty sure it's going to do a decent job, but I don't know. Okay, what I'll do is I will squish it around a little bit. Have some food to rest. Yeah. Stream end. Oh, it's probably going to end pretty soon, but thank you so much for coming around, man. I will be polite if not. I will catch you in the next one. Thanks so much for coming out there. That was really awesome. And yeah, I'll catch you next time, and obviously in the next video, which will hopefully be of the Riotoro CR280. So I'll catch you then, man. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dab it about a bit more. As long as I'm not introducing air pockets in. And I'll put a little bit more on. Right. If that doesn't cover it, I don't know what will. Because I don't know about you, but it's not a very thick layer. It might look so much worse in stream. But it's not a very thick layer. It's actually very reasonable, to be fair. And that's just going to squish out once there's pressure. It'll cover it. That is the one way to guarantee that you've covered the thing, is if you cover the thing before you put the cooler on. So I think we're all in good shape. There's actually an exposed bit of copper there. If I can get a view on it. It was just there. There you go, you can see exposed bit of copper there. So now you guarantee it's copper. Oh, I never get that right. I always try to do it with some videos sometimes. Never quite get it spot on. Right, so we lower the cooler on. Actually, I think what I'm going to do is the other way around, because then I can actually line up the holes properly. Honestly, all of this light, and then just because there's a little bit there that takes it out of kilter, it decides, we're just going to overcompensate and remove all the light. Better, okay. Right, everybody good with that? I've been waiting here for 5 minutes trying to get a response, because, I guess we need to... Okay, let's do the connections. Do my best here. I'm doing my best, guys. Trying my best not to cover it as well. Let's get a good grapple of that, and then we can slot that straight in there. That's one. This is gonna have to be plonked right onto it, and then we're gonna have to, I suppose, fix it in place, and then we can go about fixing that second fan clip. But that's gonna take a little screwdriver. I remember last time it did a similar thing. And I also remember from last time is that you need to pick it up to do it, because that end piece there will just hit the table. So let's see. Is that lined up? Try and actually line the screws holes there. That's good. Good. Good, good, good. And then that's it. Is that all? Seems to me like it's in place. Batten down the hatches and hope for the best, I suppose. We still have 8 people. We still have 8 people watching. Okay, I think that's gone in. I think that might have actually dropped down a little bit more now. It's probably more in place. I wonder if anybody's maybe a bit less. Maybe a bit less, maybe a bit more. Well, in all honesty, guys, as long as it's enough, as long as it's not too little, it's fine. Absolutely fine. Some guys, if anybody goes over to check out the InWin 301 video, where I was complaining about those tabs you need to break off in order to cable manage. Some guys just seen that video, seen a comment come up. It doesn't tell me what video it comes from, but I know that when the comment starts off as "You're delusional. If it tells you to break them away, do it." Fuck me. Sorry, swearing. Okay. I said in the CryoRig M9 review that I feel the design of something should be all that you need as for the instructions of how to use it. Now, if you look at something and go, okay, there's like a sort of rib design to these panels, and that looks quite interesting, and then you need an instruction manual to say, dude, if you break those, cable management is possible. You're like, you just think, what? That's not good design. It should lead you to be, well, okay, look, there's an entrance through here. One thing I actually find is very interesting is that there haven't been many cases, I haven't seen actually any cases, which have used like a hit and miss strategy to conceal a slot for cables to go through just by having it overlapped by another slot in front of it. Do you know what I mean? So the cables go straight through that slot. And I just haven't seen that happen. But the the issue I had with the InWin 301 situation was just unbelievable. Having a company or having anybody tell me, by the way, if that breaks, it's better for you. It just seems absolutely madness. I think, well, it's the same situation with the Fantex 10 to Evolve M80X. Dude, if you break the front panel, it's better. You're like, that shouldn't be the case. Why does the design team sit down and go, that's what we're going to put out, and then have that be the solution? Break it, it's better. It seems nuts to me. Deco bars. But yeah, I think I think for me personally, I just think I don't think breaking anything, I don't think damaging a product is the way to make a design better. There are better designs. Grommets are better designs. You could design that system even better. Design it in a way you don't have to break it. Surely that would be the ultimate, design. I think you can compare it to anything. Do you have anything in your life that costs £80? Well, you probably do. Probably quite a lot of people do. But I mean, do you have anything in your life that meaningfully has no other choice but to break something, and then that gives you the one-time use, and you can't repair it afterwards? And I don't, considering it hasn't happened in the cases part of the PC component industry yet, or around that much at all, would lead you to believe that that's not a good design, and it's not the best design. Generally, the best design sticks around, and the one that is obviously economical as well. But yeah, no, it's it does seem mad to me. Anyway, we're gonna change it up by going for this camera. Okay, so now we've got that on. That is essentially that's basically done. That's all sorted. But yeah, but the CryoRig M9, I actually did like the cooler. I thought it was a very competent cooler, decent design. I was pretty happy with it. But I do think that the bars they had should have been the other way around. They should have had the smooth side out, and you should have put the fixed nut onto the smooth side, because you wouldn't see it once the cooler's on it and the plate's covering it, but it would actually look more presentable and instead of having this unusual curve thing. I've actually got the M9 still on my test bench. I just completely forgot. If you actually you can actually see it. It's there. But because it's dark and the integrated camera's crap, you can't really see it. Break-in shoes. Break an egg. Kick indoors. Kick indoors. That's brilliant. Oh, jeez. So, anyway. Okay, so now it's the simple case of reapplying. There you go. Now we just get some tape, put it over the top, and stick it in the computer. No, so we need to unscrew that one. I'll just do that, and then I'll unscrew them as we go. But this won't have an effect on the. Carry on doing that. The instant reaction is to be like, right, I'm gonna unscrew something, so I roll it that way. Or I'm gonna tighten it up, and I do it that way. But because we're on stream, last thing you want is, oh. No. That is the last thing you want. But it's quick enough to unscrew it by just spinning. It's one thing I actually, I don't know actually, how many of you guys not are aware of it? You're probably all aware of it. How much you do it? I don't know. I'm going to switch back to the on the go camera. God, look at that! It's already lined up. I'll do it with the end screw actually. When I was, I did for work experience as part of, I think it was high school. I did some work experience at a university at a. Oh wow, we haven't actually attached the fan. I'm gonna do that first, because otherwise I'll forget. I did as part of work experience a bit of work experience at a university with their, what was it called? It was Formula Student. If you type in Formula Student on Google, you actually see basically it's a competition where you basically design and develop a Formula racer, and then you race it against other teams, and you have to have a driver, and you have to have all sorts of stuff. You have to have a somewhat competent pit crew. You have to design the whole car. It seems so cool. Right, I'm gonna need to do this with the most concentration, and I don't think I've got a very good camera angle for it, so what I'm going to do is switch back to that one and see if that works, because I'm going to need to get some I don't think I'm going to be able to do this with my hand because it's just so fiddly. Shifting that along millimetrically, it's a nightmare. But I did this thing with Formula Student, and they were saying when it came to installing spark plugs and stuff, just as there was an engine ear. No, there was an engine. What do you call a person who designs an engine? Engine something. He was saying when it comes to spark plugs, that you want to put the spark plug into the block. Obviously, yeah, you want to put that into the block there, mate, and then you'll have your car working. That's how spark plug works. You want to push into the block, and then there you go. That's in there. Sorry that's not very visible for you guys. But obviously it's an extremely fiddly thing. And while I'm here, I'm going to make sure that one is sufficiently installed as well. And I think that's perfectly installed. Yep, perfect. Funny they have. Actually, of course they do. No, one is for an LED. Sorry, one's for an LED. One of them's for an LED and one of them's for a fan. There's two different connections. Anyway, some cool old pliers there. He was saying when you put I'll do the visual demonstration now because I've been sort of stalling. when you go into screw a screw into position, and this was specifically towards a spark plug, but I do it for everything now because a spark plug is made of steel, and the block of the engine is made of aluminium, then the spark plug is softer. The threads of the spark plug is softer than the block. So if you go ham and just decide to screw in immediately, once you go into it and immediately turn right, and you have the threads out of line, then you'll end up just destroying the threads on the block. And obviously replacing the block is a nightmare. And obviously changing the block to steel for a petrol-based engine is not a decent idea because it costs so much more and it's heavier and all the sort of negatives that come along with that. Diesels have to be steel for combustion purposes, but for petrol engines it's not necessary. But when you're screwing into there, to make sure you've got the threads perfectly lined up, instead of screwing clockwise to screw it in, you screw anti-clockwise and hear for a click. Once you hear that click, you then screw this way, because that's when the thread has just dropped into the thread of the screw has just dropped into the thread of the nut or whatever you're screwing it into, or the block in the case of the engine, and that's the perfect way to not screw up a thread. And I do it for every screw now that I undo or every one I put in now, because it just makes sense just to make sure you have that security. We need that one undoing. So yeah, no, it's a good idea. Good rule. See you, Ben Cross. Hope you've had a good time at the stream. Hope you've been productive as well while watching it. No, great to have you here, dude. And I'll catch you in a future one. Appreciate you showing up for it. Tomorrow, by the sounds of it. Could be tomorrow, yeah. If you're still here by the time you hear this, is there a certain time that works for you? Are you going to be there tomorrow if you can? And same for everybody else, actually. Is everyone going to be there if they can be there? I'm just going to shut the window, because this is the time where every bug in South Wales decides to come into my room. I had a big problem with this, I'll talk about in a second, but... Cylinder head, yeah. I was thinking clock. Big clock. Yeah, Cylinehead. I'm not a super super clued up on the on engines and stuff. I know bits and bobs about them, but yeah, don't know a hell of a lot. I do find it really interesting though. I watched a channel called Engineering Explained, and you may have heard of it. Quite a few may have heard of it. Really awesome channel. It's just very interesting. But anyway, yeah. As for the shutting the window thing, I had some problems before with doing videos late at night. So recording a video, I used to have 6 lights on the ceiling, and let me just show you that very quickly. If you look up here, it'll readjust. You can see that there's 2 lights there now. There's one pointing right, one pointing left. So one right, one left. And you can see there's a band of 6 lights potential there. 6 45-watt light bulbs. And that used to be the way I used to light things. Now I've got some soft boxes in behind me that can do a lot better of a job. So I can just put 2 45-watt bulbs in those. I've actually got 5 80-watt bulbs in each of them. But that was completely overkill and unnecessary. But it came with the style, and I actually wanted that style of a softbox anyway. But anyway, when it came to doing recording really late at night, it would actually be an absolute pain because you'd have all of the bugs coming out, and they would come through the window because there was so much light being produced, and you just could not hide it by putting a curtain across, unless I had some really good curtains. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I think I might do. I don't know. I think actually the people who are most likely going to watch the stream tomorrow, if there is a stream, will be here. So if people aren't super down for it, then I can just crack on with it myself. Not a problem. There's plenty to get on with, and it'll probably be more efficient with me doing it off stream, of course, because obviously you're not managing a stream and all that sort of stuff. But I would love to do it on stream. It's always good fun to see you guys. Always good fun to see you guys. Always good fun to hang out with you guys and just chat. But of course, I couldn't just stream every day because people have got things to do. People have got lives to live. Can't just watch some aspiring YouTube channel trying to do bits of back-end work for the channel. Okay, that does not seem like it's biting to me, but apparently it is. Oh, and it was. Just needed another rotation. Force weight, but I work early. I understand most others don't. So that's why I plus majority. Probably just catching the first half or something. Dude, if you're around, totally cool. If you're not around, dude, do not sweat it. There's going to be plenty more in the future. It would be quite cool though, because I will be going. We will be looking into, if we do go get into doing one, we will be looking into the testing methodology, finalizing that, getting that down, and everybody's going to be in the same boat then. That's why I wanted to do this card first, so I could make sure that this gets involved with any of the thermal tests, which it will do, because Firestrike's involved, and some gaming benchmarks. This will get involved as well. I want to make sure that I'm not testing with the R9 and then testing with this after on some other ones, because I mean that's just going to be absolutely destructive to consistency. So anyway, yeah, dude, you've probably got to shoot off now. So really glad you came along, though. It's really appreciate it, man. And don't worry, Salmonella Gorilla. Do not worry. There's gonna be plenty of streams coming around, and it'll end up jumping onto the channel anyway as a video. Maybe, I don't know. I've got no control over it. I can't actually. I don't think I still can see it in. I can't see it on my phone on the YouTube Creators Studio app. Just cannot see it there. And the last live stream. It's just absolute mess. YouTube is all over the shop lately. I do at some point want to try Twitch, but don't know. Just seems like more of a pain in the butt for everyone to get over there. But I mean, I do think there's potentially better ways to support the channel over there. Potentially more consistent ways to support the channel over there. I think it's probably a better streaming platform overall. Probably no doubts about that. But I think my audience is here at the moment. So I'm sort of inclined to stay. Not that I'd be going anywhere, I'd be just, you know, jumping over there for a little bit. Luckily as I've put in the wrong screws in all of these. And now they all have punctures in bits where they shouldn't have punctures in. But isn't that life? People just get punctures in places they shouldn't have punctures. Well, that worked out surprisingly well, I thought. Not really sure about that. Not really sure about that design. I was unsure when I first saw it. This lip comes over the top here, but it doesn't seem to be consistent with the design at the edge. Just sort of... It seems to start about half an inch too early and end about 1.5 inches too late, or too early. It seems just not to... I don't know. But it would be an awkward trim otherwise, so I get it. But no, super cool looking card though. Just absolutely lovely. It's going to be nice to have this on the board. The thing is though, is that I'll have to see if the red light is good on here. And it's got a bit of blue for the win. For the win. So I'm a little bit unsure as to whether that's going to look so good on the test bench, but I think it's going to look pretty beastly anyway. Be nice to have that upright, because you can do this on this bench. Be cool. Anyway, that's that. Question is, I think we're probably going to call it quits there. Yeah, I need to eat, I need to drink. I've had like that much water, like only that much water for this. I think I've been talking continuously for 2.25 hours. And my voice is going to be absolutely shot if it's good. Keep on watching just in case. Okay, I'm done. Alright, dude, catch you next time. Really appreciate you coming in. And that's gone to absolute crap. You might be gone already. Really appreciate you coming in, man. I'll catch you in the next one. You've been super proactive in the comments. That's been really awesome. Thanks, dude. Okay, yeah, I think that's good for me. Or I tell you what, I could just wrap it up by changing the cards over. I think I may as well do that. But one thing I need to do is unplug. Hopefully this doesn't cause any sounds to come through your system. I hope it didn't, because I actually need to go to those things. Actually, what we'll do first is I'm going to need to do a little bit of maneuvering here. Very, very quickly. Sorry. I'm going to put the mic on mute very briefly, just because I'm going to move it. And I don't want you guys to... Back on. There you go. So hopefully that was a nice safe way for all your ears if you're using headphones. I was going to do it by the button on the mic, but that's going to cause problems. And what I can do as well is remove that. I do like those actually. It's just one with a clip. That just seems to make sense to me. Yeah, so you can just clip it onto anything. Works really well. Those actually work better, by the way, if you're going to do stuff than the like foam bits you stick on top. That works better for pop. I'm not sure if there's benefits in for other, like, you know, sounds. I mean, plosive sound seems to be better with the actual pop filter, but having this foam might be better for other things. Right, we're going to take a very, very quick look at the thermal testing graphs, and I'm absolutely destroying my set here. Not that it was actually of much huge value, although I liked it. Oh no, my G602 is running out of battery power. Okay, unfortunately there's not going to be a hell of a lot I can do here in terms of I'm going to transition across now, and there you go. There's a transition across. So this is what the thermal testing is going to look like. And I'm doing my absolute best to... I'll actually unplug that. There you go. So that's what the thermal testing graphs are looking like at the moment. I'll even move it a little bit closer. There you go. Okay. Good. Right. So that's the thermal testing graph right now as it stands. So what I can do is, if I say I've just put in some random stuff, and I've actually, this is for cases, you can see up there. so what I've got is, so I've got the raw data coming in, then I've got the ambient coming in, and then that then is feeding into, so the raw GPU temperature minus the ambient temperature gives you this delta T. And I actually need to write on there, actually it's a delta T graph, so I'll add that. But what we're going to be doing is, if I copy that, I go into PowerPoint, just for the sake of being able to, like, this is how I would normally do it, and I don't know if there's a better way, but maybe. I can post this picture, which is fine, but you can see here, this is much easier to have a little look at. So this is how we're working the max temperature CPU and GPU for prime and combustor, but that's just prime and combustor. We've got plenty more where that came from. So that's prime and combustor. That there is the temperatures, but down here is the clock speed. So if we hit temperatures where it starts overclocking all sorts of stuff, then I'm going to be able to keep an eye on the clock speed, and I'll be able to show you the final CPU and GPU clock speed after the 10-minute test. So I take a little drink there. So that would be very, very useful information. So not only can you see the temperature differences, but if it hits something like, I know with the R990X, 94 degrees is its limit before it starts underclocking itself. Then if it hits 94 degrees here, let's say, or might be slightly different for the GTX 1070, then it'll hit 94 there, and you might see a couple hit 94, and it's like, okay, well, it hit 94. Does that mean it was 94, or does that mean it overclocked like hell? So yeah, so that's what we've got too. I was going to have a secondary, so I can jump in here, and I can actually have, where is the things? Oh no, you've got to select those. You can have a secondary axis, but secondary axes do look horrible. They turn out to be horrible here, and trying to configure it to look anything worse other than horrible is, you know, very difficult. So that's that. We have Firestrike. So Firestrike is what this looks like. Frames per second then in purple. And then we have the CPU. Generally, I remember CPU in terms of color. I think CPU and think of C as cyan. But obviously cyan is more like this in the bottom right, where you can see all of my thermals being tracked by MSI Afterburner. So cyan is more for C, but I always think of that as being blue for that reason. And then GPU is green, so G, green. And I generally have them as that in most of the things I try and color code. And then purple, F. I mean, purple is for frames per second. I mean, what colors are there that start with F? I don't know. No idea. But yeah, so that's that. So we have graphics test 1, 2, physics test, and combined test. And yeah, that will hopefully keep things quite tidy. But this means that we've got loads of data just purely from this one test. I was going to bulk them all together, but I mean, Christ, have you seen how that would look? You'd have, I mean, 4 different bars for frames per second. Then you'd have your temperatures, and it would be absolutely horrible. So if we do end up going down this road and having using Firestrike as something, then that will be how it would look as a benchmarking. Unigine Heaven, then it gets a lot simpler from here. Extreme preset, you know, everything's fine, you know, 1080p. Unigine Superposition, if you haven't seen Unigine Superposition, oh wow, that thing just looks really cool. And not necessarily the whole action in there. I don't want to give away too much in case you haven't seen it and you're waiting for a video, but yeah, some highlight for the cooler being tested. I was thinking what I was going to do for the cooler being tested is I was just going to completely full block. So what I'd do is I'd change that fill to be a solid fill of whatever color it's set to be. So I think that one. So actually, I'll see if I can zoom in on that, and then you can give me a little live feedback. I would then actually let's go for that one there. Right in the end. I'll see if I can just clip it. There you go. So fill. So the fill would be solid, potentially. And I was either thinking solid or making it white and then having green, but I think the more I tinker with that, the harder it gets and the more painful it gets for me to sort it all out on every one. So I'd have that as solid green, and I'd have the one being tested would always appear on the right. So then I'd have that being green, that one would be blue, and that would be solid purple. And it would be it'll stand out a little bit more than normal, so that could be a way of going about it. But let me know what you think, if you think that would be a little less desirable potentially than another idea. If you have ideas, you post them. I always pay attention to them because you're pretty sane, so I'll listen to you. Awesome, you seem to be in agreement with it. That's cool. And me saying being in agreement with you is going to come like 5 minutes after you've actually, it's not 5 minutes, it's like 30 seconds after you've actually said, yeah, I'm good with it. So you'll have me going on about it for another like 5 minutes. And then obviously having me going on about it now. So we have Dirt 3, which Dirt 3, such a stable program. These figures haven't actually come from Dirt 3. I haven't done any testing. And you can see that it says case, but it's got Hyper 212 Evo and CryoRig M9i. So clearly that's not case stuff. But yeah, this was initially built for the CPU coolers, but we're going to be using the same stuff for CPU coolers, and it'll just go into its own thing. It'll be its own graph. So yeah, but I've got CPU cooler at the bottom as the title and at the top there, so it is all over the shop. We have Dirt Showdown then. Dirt Showdown, same stuff. I do actually really like the style of these. If I go to the... Oh yeah, Joe sent me a message saying, I've never heard of that time before. Oh, Joe. He sent me that saying 660. What magic is this? So yeah, what was I saying? Can't remember. Oh yeah, no, that was what I was going to say. I really like the style of how these turned out. These what would you call them? It's not the Matrix or something. You know what I mean though? It's the keynote thing there. I like that how it's turned out. It's got that faded look. I went for the coloured banner around each of them just because it keeps it more consistent and brings it down to here. But I do like having a faded gradient. Also notice the red flows into a yellow and then a green. That's not very necessary. It's not very good when it comes to temperatures. I understand this. But for frames per second graphs, which we do have frames per second coming into play, I did initially have it as pretty much only frames per second, and yeah, that was a little bit, it's a bit irritating. It's turned out a little bit different, but I can always change that around. I mean, would you prefer me to have red at the top and green at the bottom so that it takes into account more of the thermals than it does the frames per second, or it's up to you? Just slight colour tint from pure white. Yeah, we could go for some like Architect's Grey or something. That's not a problem. Can we go... Is that going to be the solid? Oh yeah, that's going to be... Yeah. Okay, well I could do it either way. I could change that to a very slight tinge. And I actually think that looks much better. Yeah, I think that looks much better. But we do obviously need to change that. So that is a solid fill. And that obviously changes to that as well. Did that change that as well? No, I didn't change that as well. There you go. I mean, does that grab your fancy a little better, guys? Oh, it's over there. There you go. Is that a little bit better for you, or do you have a difference in color? This screen is very slightly red, and obviously on your thing it's looking like very much brown. So. Yeah, I'll wait for a second for the comments to come through. Replenishing myself with water as well. At some point where on these streams I'm going to have a constant screen capture of me in the top right hand corner, and I'll have some sort of design thing going on to sort of have an actual border around it as well, so it looks somewhat professional. But that's for a future date. But if that grabs you a little more, it'll come out as grey on your screens. In fact, if I disable flux for a second, then that might help. But I don't know because it's just so grey. I don't know. You can see that then, so that'll go across. Then we've got Rise of the Tomb Raider, so I'm gonna have to keep note of that. Actually, what I have been doing is saving these as save it as a template, but the annoying thing is once you set it as a template, when you copy it over and you paste that template into here, all the text just resets to some sort of default value which is just ugh. I think it looks less bland. Yeah, more pro. Awesome. Yeah. Well, we will be doing that then. I will change it for every one of them. Yeah, it's not much of a change. It's not much of a hassle doing it, obviously. But I will certainly do that because I think that's a very solid. I'm so bad when it comes to like little things like that. I just yeah. I mean, this is let's just be very straight here. This is coming from the guy who painted his room yellow. So when it comes to colours and stuff like that, clearly I am not the guy to choose stuff. I mean, stuff like this is objective. It makes sense. That should be one colour that's differentiated from a different colour, and that's fine. And then obvious colours like that. When it comes to objective things like, well, the temperature is, you know, a good temperature, so green would necessarily be down at the bottom. So yeah. But either way, it's differentiating from the top to the bottom in some way. So it's good. Yeah, hopefully that's kind of a little bit brighter for you guys. So yeah, so that's Rise of the Tomb Raider, which I bought purely because it was on sale, and there's so many people do use it as a benchmark. I know there's a new Tomb Raider game coming out soon, and that might be a little bit better, but to be honest, for the system we have, and we're just testing stuff with general gameplay and things like that, it's a decent enough title for it. So that's that works for me. Hitman's a great one for benchmarking, because the second you run Hitman, it comes up with the options menu, and in the options menu, right at the bottom, before it's even loaded the game, is the benchmark button. So, you know, super awesome. You can see that the style is identical for all of them. I redid this entire thing yesterday because I was like, oh crap, how am I going to integrate Delta T into this? And it was a bit of a pain. But I do need to write down that Delta T needs to be there. I also need to write down that that I need to turn it all to a grey background. But yeah, solid comments from you guys. Yeah, I might have to go darker. I'll have a little look. I'll have a look, and if I think, well, this is noticeably better looking with, you know, a second shade down from white in the greys, then I'll go with that. I'll make that call. But if you guys think, oh, it's too dark when a video comes out, I'll change it back. So there we go, GTA 5 again. One thing I noticed when doing a little bit of messing around with GTA 5 benchmarks is that GTA 5 doesn't use, and this is basically how benchmarks work. It can't be a preset video in sorts. The camera needs to be preset, but you know, especially if you have a physics-based gaming system, you need everything to be free flowing. But in GTA 5, the traffic is random. I should probably transition back while I'm having a discussion about this thing. But in GTA 5, the traffic's random. So there's a point in the benchmark where the guy who's driving around recklessly and chasing some guy or whatever drives into an oil tanker, you know, the 16-wheeler thing, and then that jumps off the back of the jack of the trailer of the cab and then blows up. But in one of them I saw in one of the runs, this car careening through traffic hit another car into it, then that flicked it off, and then it blew up. So it was purely based on the physics system that jumped off the back of the out of the cab and blew up, which I thought was interesting. It looked like a set piece, but that thing didn't happen on every single run. So the hitting another car into it, not necessarily it blowing up, that did happen on every run. So yeah, that was interesting. But yeah, I suppose they've done a lot of testing on that to make sure it's a solid system. So yeah, I can't actually see comments anymore because I've had to flick between things. I hate this YouTube thing at the moment. How do you save the recorded frames per second on games? Never could get my head around that. You get a benchmark text document, and it tells you. Some games, the one things I've specifically chosen, like, I haven't looked around for a sale on Crysis for benchmarking, because the benchmarking on Crysis is hit the benchmark tool, go. And then you've got to make sure that you're extremely consistent as to how you maneuver and don't do too much of one thing or another. And then you have to shoot enough of the guys shooting you so that you get through it. But you obviously don't want to shoot overly too much, because then you're adding in flashes and frame rate changes too much. So that's the way that Crysis works. And then you get to the end of it and you're like, right, stop benchmark. And it's like, it's such a such an inconsistent way of doing benchmarking, and benchmarking should be consistent. Obviously, the thing I mentioned with GTA 5, where like a car can intervene with stuff, is an issue. But the actual vehicle itself is basically on rails. The main vehicle itself is on rails, so it's guaranteed to have the right impact on the physics engine and that sort of thing to give you the more consistent frame rate. But as for games like Dirt 3, there is a benchmark run, which is an option. So you select all the options, the graphical options, put them to whatever you like, and it doesn't. Oh, okay. Sorry, I saw it pop up. It distracted me. So you click the benchmark. It runs through a race that is not predetermined, but it's set with the AI being extremely nervous of each other. So when they're driving around the track, it's like, don't touch the car in front. So you don't end up having that many clashes. You have a couple because other cars are a bit more aggressive. But as for your car, it's quite laid back and it just chills through. So you start off in 6th position, you end in 5th or something like that. So it's not like you're hunting for first like you would if you were actually playing the game. And then it'll actually show you at the end, here's your average, here's your minimum, here's your maximum, and that sort of thing. But it also throws it into an XML document. And you can open that up with like, I think XML document, you can open it with a Notepad++ or just Notepad or whatever, and then you can just read off the information. Hitman is a crazy dense amount of data. It'll actually show you to which millisecond the next frame showed up. Oh, Jesus Christ. So you've literally got, 6 milliseconds, and then you got another, 4 milliseconds later, and then 13 milliseconds, a bit of a slower frame, shows up, and it literally shows you as to absolute. So it has frames 1 to 60,000 or something like that, and it shows you all the millisecond gaps. And then at the bottom, it shows you, I think in the text document especially, it shows you the breakdown of each frame, as it were, and all that sort of stuff. Absolutely insane. So yeah. But when it comes to capturing the data from stuff like Prime 95 and things like that as to the temperatures of the CPU, I'll actually show you very quickly while we're doing it, and I'll end on this in a second. If I jump back to that. Okay, so there, we're back to here. So if I go into a new Excel document and I go to realtemp log, I use realtemp to log all of the data there. So you can see, basically this captures 1 per second. If I scroll down all the way down to the bottom, I've done at least 31,000 seconds of thermal testing with the system. So that's 31,000 seconds that's going down the drain when we reset all these graphs. But there's a reason that we're doing the CPU coolers like this now. But unfortunately, all the data for the original stuff, which I will show you, CPU cooler spreadsheet, CPU cooler thermal testing spreadsheet, YouTube, yeah, that's the one. So, no, that's not the one I want. That's terrible. That was the one legitimately for that, but we need the PC case thermal testing spreadsheet. So this was the original one. So this is the one that I've been using since. So it is a bit janky. It literally just has, this is it's just a function of the average of the 4 below it. And then the GPU temp is at the bottom, and that was the final GPU temp. And then you just got a TJ Max. Did it hit its thermal limit? Yes, whatever. And then I'll literally log down there how long it lasted, which to me is just horrible. Not proud of it. But anyway, you can see there that, that's all the thermal tests we did, which was a fair amount, to be fair. We did quite a lot. And I had enough to go, plenty to go on with. And then into sheet 2, which was the comparison graphs, which just looked disgusting looking at it now. There's just, it all bunches up to the right in a weird way, and it's just so unreadable. And I agree with you, the thickness, it looks so much better as a bar graph. Plus, not only because you can actually put more into this space here because you've got a wider frame to play with than you do tall. So yeah, so that's that. So yeah, that's how that worked, and that was literally just grabbing through Malwarebytes. Sort off. So yeah, that was that though. So I think we've gotten away with this one, and I think I'm extremely hungry. So yeah, so I am going to hopefully cut off and stop streaming because I had to work out how to stop streaming last time, and it was literally just a case of hitting stop streaming on OBS, and it said bye bye to everyone. So that cut off very quickly. Yeah, all those 93, 94 degree temps don't say a lot. No, there's not a lot of information in there, and that's what I'm changing with the way I'm doing it now. So hopefully, if I'm just having a little look at the CPU cooler stuff. So in Prime 95 and Combustor, now because I'm going to be logging both the temperatures and the final clock speed, and I've got at the top of the final clock speed, if we just very quickly switch back, because I've got at the top of the final clock speed, it's showing final clock speed out of 4 gigahertz. You can see there, then people clearly know, exactly what information they need to look for. And yeah, actually on the note of the cooler, I have made a somewhat semi-solid final decision, but not completely final decision, that potentially our CPU of choice, CPU cooler of choice for all these future thermal tests for all the cases coming up will be the C7. Now I say the C7 in a very sort of I kind of wish that we could go with something a lot bigger, but the reality is that I want to compare I want to show if there is a mini ITX case that has brilliant thermal capacity, it really deals well with airflow in the right places where you want it. I want to show that and show that, hey, this mini ITX case is actually just as good as this, in the future we'll be doing at some point, ATX case. And you think, oh my god, geez. And then you see an ATX case that performs way worse than a mini ITX case or a micro ATX case, and you think, how? And that to me makes a lot of sense. So having a super slim cooler that can deal with the i7-6700K is, to me, what we want to do, and we want to do that with everyone. Does it look as good as every other case? I don't think so. I don't. No, does this look as good as every other cooler? I don't think it does. I think it's definitely pretty much the slimmest and the nicest one, and the smallest one that we've seen so far. But if you have got any other coolers that you go, dude, you're an idiot, you haven't even checked this one out, tell me now, let me know in a comment in another video or in the comments now. If you need to take 5 minutes to look into it after the live stream to work out which one you were thinking of or something, then please do. And I will do I'll do a super quick video on, say if there's a few of you that say this super slim one looks amazing, this super slim one looks really well rated, and this super slim one looks really well rated as well, then I'll grab them all, I'll buy 3 in a row, I'll do one video where I test all of them, and then I'll make my decision then as to which one we will be using for the future. And I will postpone the CR280 video until then, because I want that CR280 video to be the standing point, the start of all the rest of the videos coming, because it looks like an awesome case. It looks like a really nice looking case. It does look good, and to me, it has a bottom mounted front I/O, which means I can put it on my desk and not have shit flowing all over the front of the case. And that to me sounds like heaven. So that's what I want. So that's why I want to hold back on that. I want that one to be a very much a benchmark for things. So yes. Anyway, yeah, please let me know in the comments of other videos, and be like, oh dude, this one. And I'll get onto it. In fact, I might do that myself anyway. I've told you I'm going to be doing this CR280 video for so long now. I hate to say, we're going to postpone it again, but guys, this obviously, you all know this super matters. This is going to be the next potentially 2 to 5 years of this channel. We want to make sure we get this right. Cool. Yeah, reputable brand. Yeah, no, they. Oh yeah, Noctua definitely. I also obviously want to go with something that looks awesome. It's got to look good. This looks pretty cool, but the problem with these coolers, it's gonna have to be a cooler that's mounted this way, this low profile with a fan blowing down, because you're not gonna get the low profile cooler that's gonna have blowing through that way. But how good would it be to have 80mm cool 80mm fans, or even like smaller ones, because that's a 92mm, like that big. Having like some really small fans, have 3 of them at the front blowing through. That would be so good. I'd love to see that, but they would be noisy little buggers. Okay, poop around, yeah, maybe, maybe poop around will be out. That's my issue I have with Noctua stuff. It's like, why? Is it purely to differentiate yourself between a gaming PC and something else? But most PCs using them will be gaming PCs, you know? So, yeah. Anyway, okay. Sort of final question, unless I think of something different. Would you mind if I did a video, another CPU cooler video, before I do the CR280 video, rounding up 3, they're coming round a bit. Okay, cool. So they might have something grey or black come out by the time we're there. It's kind of like Sennheiser. Sennheiser's like, oh, you know, we got one of our nice headphones. You know, all the ones that aren't that nice, on like the more affordable end of their spectrum, like greys and stuff. The ones that aren't as don't perform as well are like greys and stuff and blacks and stuff, and they look cool. And then the ones which are like, hey, here's a affordable but one of our better performing ones. Here's Poop Brown, you know, and you're just like, why? Like, I bought these because I wanted something. These are the HD 599s. They're quite comfy. I quite like them. I can hear myself, so if I want to do some commentary and stuff like that, and I want headphones on, so maybe I can quickly instantly hear back on it, and I fancy wearing headphones at the time, I'll use those, and they keep me cool because they're open back and they're so much cooler than in terms of temperature than having closed backs, which I had before, and they were too small and they just, you know, they weren't very comfy. Anyway, do you mind? I'm asking you as a form of politeness, and I will also very much listen. Do you mind if I do one last CPU cooler video for super low profile coolers, you know, stuff around this size, to find out what is definitively the sort of within a certain amount of you know, accuracy, the best good looking super low profile cooler out. So yeah, let me know, because I would have to buy these in, and yeah, I would have to buy these in, so there'd be shipping time, and yeah, and I could probably easily come up with some sort of thing to do to bide the time between getting those, but I want to make this right. Yeah, because I mean, to me thermals is to me it's one of the most important things I find about a case. If you can't get the thermal testing graphs right, you can't get a foolproof template setup that you can copy and paste, such as the graphs I've been making. If you have to individually make every single graph you make in this sheet, then, you know, that's not good. That's not a good way of doing things. But if you can use exactly the same graph for every single, or template you can use for absolutely every single graph, it's solid. And if you can use the perfect, identical setup for your system in every single case you can possibly do, you know, that's solid. I will be, of course, having different motherboards in mini ATX cases and ATX cases and micro ATX cases, but they're all going to be setting up the CPU with exactly the same setup. So there should be, within like tolerance of testing tolerance, it should be relatively the same. Yes, I could always do a straw poll. I tell you what, how about this? If I do tomorrow, do you feel that you have seen enough of, you know, what we're going to be doing with the benchmarking to run with that, or would you like me to do maybe a half an hour, 45-minute live stream tomorrow, going over one of the CPU coolers and how we're going to test how we're going to do stuff like that and test it? Because tomorrow, if not, then I can work on doing a little video after looking into as many coolers as I possibly can. I actually had an Excel document with all the coolers that were all of certain sizes and had them all categorized into certain things. Because I do want to do more cooler reviews, but obviously not as popular as like case reviews and builds and things like that. So it's difficult to be able to say, right, you know, I'm gonna carry on doing CPU cooler reviews and push that when the stats aren't backing you up much. But you know, if you've seen enough today, okay, the options are in my you know very bland straw poll with 5 people watching. We do small live stream tomorrow to go over one cooler to do the testing on it. We do no live stream tomorrow, and I just get on with doing finding out information and looking through all of the different CPU coolers I have that I can find, and then ordering them after doing a video about it and straw polling what you like the most, and then that sort of thing. Obviously, I'm going to have my own opinion, so my opinion is obviously the deciding factor in then. If I've got an our decision between 2 coolers and you guys overwhelmingly picked one of them, then I'm certainly going to do that. Mind you, I'm going to be bringing them in and testing them anyway, so you know, kind of makes no difference. But obviously, I might put 10 out for you, or you know, maybe 8 and whittle down to 3 or something. So yeah, so I'll either do a small live stream tomorrow going over that, but if you've seen enough of that and you're like, right, that's all good for me, let me know just quickly now if you've seen enough of the whole idea about it. And if not, then if you don't need to see any more, then I won't do a live stream tomorrow with that, and I will just do a video pointing out the coolers I've seen and what you kind of want to look at. So I should be able to come around. Okay. Well, what if we do this? What if tomorrow it's gonna be earlier because I've got work the next day. Tonight I haven't got work tomorrow. I've taken the day off tomorrow because I want to do a little bit more of work for the channel. Not necessarily. I was deciding, I was gonna start the CR280 video tomorrow, but that's not gonna happen. I'm sweating so much. I've lost so much water. I was gonna be starting that video tomorrow, but I just want to be able to do some work for the channel, so that's what I'm doing. Yeah, sorry, I should look at that then. I do need to go get some food at some point now. And now I've got an alarm. Oh my god, there's sweat on my phone. Right, I think I've completely lost it. Right, okay, you've just reminded me. So what I'll do is I'll do a video at around maybe the 6 to 7 p.m. here. It'll only be an hour, so it's only going to be going from 7 to 8. And in your area, then that's going to be an hour ahead, so that'll be something like 8 to 9-ish for the sickness. And then Sam and the Gorilla, you're going to be same time here anyway, so that's cool. And if you come up with any specific ones you go, you know, that's a really cool one, then, you know, I'll log that down. But I kind of think maybe for timeliness, because I haven't really got much of a video to you know, take us through waiting for those other ones to come through, then I might be struggling. So I might want to actually just do the quick video tomorrow morning and get it out for something like 3 o'clock, and then have you guys comment, and then maybe I'll do a live stream afterwards, and if I missed anything then you can point it out. But you could always point that out in the comments anyway. I don't know. I'll work it out. I'll work something out. I'll let you guys know tomorrow anyway. I'll be posting a video anyway and say if I'll do a live stream. Just make sure you catch that, and don't be waiting up for a live stream if I don't end up doing one. But yeah, so it's difficult for me to like solidify certain things, and this is one of them. So yeah, I got to work after 2 weeks off. Gonna keep an eye out. Sounds good. Awesome, man. Okay, well, I hope you had a really good 2 weeks off. I hope you made the most of it. Got what you needed to get done and that sort of thing, or just relax, you know, which is probably the key thing. So anyway, I am gonna say good night. Is that a scratch on that? Oh my god, there's a scratch on my okay. Whatever. Okay, I'm gonna go. I hope you have a really nice rest of your night. Obviously there's not much of any of it for you guys because you've spent all the time here checking out this live stream. Really appreciate you guys coming along, and I'll catch you tomorrow anyway in a video. Might catch you in a live stream. Modern case of renovations. Nice. Awesome. You'll have to get some pictures up and link them into a comment, into a video or something. I really appreciate that. Or send them to me on Facebook, and that'll be really cool to check it out. So see if you can send me some. It'd be really good. So anyway, super appreciate you guys coming out. Say your buys in the comments now. I'll read them through and then say my final buy, and then I'll catch you tomorrow for whatever video it's going to be. and I'll catch you we'll have a video for the video about the coolers, and I'll also catch you potentially in a live stream if I end up doing one. But if not, then I've got plenty of work to get on with. I've got to retest all these things. What I might do is do the video saying, hey guys, here's CPU coolers I've been looking at, check them out. You check them out in your own time, and in the meantime, I'll do as many CPU cooling tests and things like that as possible, and then we'll do potentially the live stream. God, that might be quite a tight thing to sort out, but you know, we'll do the live stream then, looking at the last CPU cooler we'll be testing, and we might be able to check out a lot of the other ones. So yeah, I might be able to check out all of the results that come through and have a look at them and go, oh, okay, that's cool. That's, you know, we've already seen all of them anyway, but you know, you'll understand how it looks a little bit better. Okay, so yeah, okay, so you've got still a little bit left to do. Fair dues. Okay, guys, well, I'm going to leave it at that. I am so hungry. That's been a 3-hour stream, so we seem to be doing pretty good in terms of streams. We've got some sort of longevity. I don't think I can do much more than 3 hours, though. I think 3 hours is probably my limit for being in front of really, you know, warm lights and all this sort of stuff and all the sort of things like that. I've got quite a bit of cleaning up to do tonight, regardless. But yeah. But awesome, guys. Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you for saying hi. 5 watching. I think we peaked at 8, which was really cool. So we'll end up upgrading that at some point in the future. But, you know, for now, this is me getting stuff done, hanging out with you guys, getting great ideas coming through from, you know, when I put ideas out there, or if I'm being an absolute idiot trying to fit a cooler and you're like, I think that goes the other way. I'm like, ah, right. Spot on. So thanks, guys. I'm going to sign out now, and I will catch you in the next one tomorrow. See you then, guys. Bye-bye. Oh my god, that's terrible. Do you know what I did? I accidentally hit start recording. Bye-bye. Am I sure I want to start?